than two of Steelbacks students. We can see a few more before the match starts. Going to mention for group combat. Now we want the Kids Ground to be a welcoming place for all our players, coaches, staff and supporters. As a club, we stand against all forms of discrimination and there's no place for it in our sport. We are dedicated to raising the game, so if you witness it, challenge it, call it out. If you need assistance at any point tonight or you have a concern, you can text 07 443 822 329. That's 07 443 822 329. On God of Honor, welcoming teams to the field, and on ring of steel to the Steelbacks 2 field. Formed by young Steelbacks supporters. Picked out the crowd tonight's game. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you. It's game 7 of 14. The group stages initially by Southampton last. Steelbacks taking on Durham. Durham on the toss and 11 to bat first. Let's see how the teams line up again with our visitors. To the Kids Ground, Durham Queens. Number 19 for Durham, captain in the side, Alex Lewis. Number 7, Graham Clark. 21, Durham's wicket-keeper, Ollie Robinson. 18, Colin Ackerman. 15, Will Rhodes. Wearing 50, Jimmy Bishop. 44, Ben Ray. Number 2, Zach Fox. 35, Matthew Potts. 72, Nathan Santa. And wearing 17, Callum Parkinson. And now we're back to the Kids Ground. Let's hear it for our Steelbacks side this evening. Wearing 27 for the Steelbacks, sponsored by Durham, Ricardo Vasconcelos. Number 3, sponsored by Cinch, Matt Britsky. 75, sponsored by Midshires, Justin Broad. 23, sponsored by Coxsave, the Steelbacks captain, David Woody. 25, sponsored by Cinch, Ravi Bobara. Wearing 18, sponsored by Country Lion, Safe Save. Number 15, sponsored by Travel Sphere, the Steelbacks wicket-keeper, Lewis McManus. Number 2, sponsored by More UK, Luke Proctor. 26, sponsored by Wentworth Alexander, Ben Sanderson. 98, sponsored by Geltec Systems, George Switchall. And wearing 16, sponsored by Cinch, Lloyd Pope. Our scorers for tonight's game are Terry Owen and Quentin Jones, our umpires Ben Devon and Neil Benton, and our referee Alex Scott. 5-minute bell. Kiko's bell, run by our umpires voicing Ben Durham and Neil Bates.
Good evening and welcome to Northampton, the county ground at Wantage Road, hosting the Northampton Steelbacks versus Durham in the 2025 Vitality Blast. My name is Dan Jadzovic, joined by professional cricketer Joe Gardner. Steelbacks 6 from 6. Can we make it 7 from 7?
That's the aim, isn't it, Dan? It's great to be back here. Friday night, the ground is filling up nicely. Looking forward to seeing the boys out there. Started off so well this year, haven't they? Not far away from almost getting a step into the playoffs, you would think.
Yeah, mathematically, it can't be many more than 1, maybe 2 more victories in order to qualify for a quarter-final. But there's a lot of cricket to play, and it starts here at home against Durham. Durham have only played 4 fixtures so far in the 2025 season. They've won 2, they've lost 2, and they've picked up 8 points, currently sitting 6th in the table. What do you make of the Durham outfit?
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously bolstered by the fact that Matty Potts comes back into their lineup tonight, replacing Casey Aldridge, who's on loan from Somerset. So, yeah, we know what sort of firepower he's got with the ball early on, which we'll obviously see in the second innings with Steelbacks bowling. Durham won the toss and will be batting first. So, yeah, I mean, they're a pretty steady outfit. They've got quite a bit of experience, Durham. And different people have stepped up for them in their couple of wins that they've had. And Jimmy Neesham returns after, 3 years ago he was a Northampton overseas player back in 2022. So, yeah, he's a dynamic cricketer with bat, ball and in the field, as Steelbacks fans might remember from 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, well, I think he left on some really, really good terms, didn't he? He just made a really good impact around the club in that 2022 season and, I mean, off the field, but finished with 255 runs and 12 wickets in that season, averaging 40 with the bat here at Wantage Road. The stream here is powered by Daffabet. The head-to-head record, if you're interested, between these two sides is play 25, Northamptonshire of 113, Durham of 110, a couple of no results and 3 abandonments. Don't think we're going to have to worry about the no results and abandonments today. We are set fair. The floodlights are on. The players are in the middle. They are ready to go. It's a battle of the new balls here, I think, isn't it? Dave Willey, Ben Sanderson, both have been on absolute fire for the Steelbacks. And as you mentioned, Zach Folks, Matt Potts, maybe a bit of Jimmy Neesham, some Ben Rain as well. Remember last year, 0 for 3 Durham in the power play. Turned out to be a pretty good game between the two sides, but just more of the same for the Steelbacks. Take wickets with the new ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And the power play is somewhere that they've really thrived. I think other than the game against Bears that was on in front of the Sky cameras the other day, they've taken at least 3 wickets in all previous 5 encounters. So, yeah, prior to that game on Wednesday. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing David Willey and Ben Sanderson take a few more, I think.
Yeah, David Willey will open the bowling from the David Capel end this evening. We'll start with a slip. Graham Clark is on strike. Alex Lees is at the non-strikers end. And Dave Willey into bowl to open the account this evening. Starts back of a length and defended by Graham Clark. Watchfully defended by Graham Clark. Same pitch that was used on Wednesday night. So those of you that would have tuned in on Sky will have a bit of a precursor as to what to expect from this. Durham obviously having had a watch and electing to have a bat first here. I guess the logic there is they'll think that the longer this gets used, the harder it will get to bat on. Shortish leg side boundary for Graham Clark. Willey looking to swing the ball back in, and it will be toe-ended down to deep square for a couple of runs. Safe save on the boundary. It's for those that haven't been to Wantage Road, it's well, I'll describe it as a peculiar shaped playing ground. It cuts in where you think it shouldn't do, and it extends down into pockets that you think it shouldn't do. It's not an oval, is it, by any stretch?
No, it's not at all. And as you say, those pockets are bizarrely sort of shaped. But I'd say it's actually not dissimilar to a few other grounds around the country where you get funny sized pockets.
You do indeed. Down towards mid-wicket this evening is tiny, and that is off the outside edge of Graham Clark. It's going to run down to Lloyd Pope on the boundary in front of us at deep third. So Alex Lees will make his way on strike to face his first delivery of this evening. left-hand, right-hand combination as well, which will be just give Dave Willey and the Steelbacks something else to think about. I think the field does stay the same, doesn't it? There's a deep square to Alex Lees, and there is a fielder down at deep third as well. 3 without loss. Powerful shot by Lees and well fielded by a diving Ravi Bopara, greeted warmly by good crowd in this evening as well.
Yeah, there is. First Friday night fixture we've had here so far this season, and the Northampton faithful have shown up in their thousands, I would say.
Yeah, good turnout, particularly down the concourse with Memsab and the bar down on the offside for Alex Lees. That one is down the leg side and will be signalled wide. Stopped by Lewis McManus.
Yeah, Alex Lees, he's probably not had the start to the competition that he would have liked, just the 42 runs. First 4 innings for the Durham captain.
That's back of a length again, pulled into the leg side by Lees. Just pulled that top hand off the bat, didn't he? Just indicating, I think that ball's just bounced a bit more. Maybe the ball's just holding in the surface a little bit early on.
Yeah, it just cramped him up a bit, didn't it? Just got right in on his right hip. But it was into space, so we could come through for the single to bring Graham Clark back onto strike. But yeah, it did look a little bit stoppy the other evening.
Final delivery of the opening over. 5 without loss after 5. That one defended into the leg side, and it is a dot ball to finish. And it remains 5 without loss after the first over. Clark on 1, Lees on, Clark on 3, Lees on 1, the 1 extra. And Dave Willey starts with a good over. Ben Sanderson, well, the leading wicket taker in the 2025 Vitality Blast. Known for his red ball prowess, over 400 first-class wickets for Northamptonshire, is now leading the attack and leading the competition with white ball in hand. Genuine swing bowler with the white ball, and swings it both ways. And they're like gold dust, aren't they? Sanderson from the Lynn Wilson centre end. Lees on strike. Still the first slip in place. That's beautiful by Alex Lees. Just stroked through the offside and runs down towards the covers. Well, deep cover. That's quite handily placed there, isn't it, by Craig Harvey and the groundsman's team?
Yeah, that was very red ball-esque, as you just said. Just a bit of width on offer there for Alex Lees, and he just leant on it, timed it nicely on top of the bounce through that cover region. I'm sure Lees will know Ben Sanderson had his number a couple of times. These two faced each other last year. Let's see if Sando can come out on top again tonight.
Yeah, attacking with the slip in place. Oh, and it has beaten Alex Lees this time. Just swinging back into the Durham skipper. Bit of extra bounce there as well, I think, just indicated by Lees to Clark.
Yeah, it just goes and does a bit of gardening down the wicket, does Alex Lees. I thought he was bowling quite nicely to Tom Latham, the Bears opening bat on Wednesday evening as well. A bit of shape off the surface.
Yeah, he's been in destructive form as Ben Sanderson. One watchfully played into the offside. Matt Bretsky, a backward point. Had a good knock against Birmingham as well. Matt Bretsky had a little bit of a light start to the season with bat in hand, but maybe just starting to find a bit of form, and some of the players just looking to dovetail with one another here for the Steelbacks. Just one boundary here coming from these opening 3 deliveries. That one through the covers off the first ball of the over. That one straight into the pads. I think that's just going to go down as a leg bite. Lees, they just can't catch up with it. Ben Sanderson in conversation with the Durham captain as he makes his way back to the end of his mark.
Yeah, just a little bit of chat there, wasn't there? You love to see that sort of stuff between bowler and batter. These T20 fixtures.
in a contest. Change of field as well. Matt Bretsky, who was at deep backward square, has just been pulled in front. 2 deliveries left in Sanderson's first over. That is flicked through the leg side, and Bretsky will cut that off. He's lightning fast in the outfield.
And a gun arm as well.
And a gun arm. A little bit of extra on there for Lewis McManus. I'm sure there might be a hand of apology from Matt Bretsky in a minute. There you go. Just to apologise to his wicket keeper. You've got to look after your wicket keepers. They have feelings too. 11 for no loss off 11 deliveries then. Sanderson finished the second. Back of a length, gets it in front of Justin Broad at mid-wicket. I think Alex Lees will stroll back for a second. 13 for no loss after 2. Clark on 4, Lees on 7, and Durham ticking along at 6.5 and over.
Yeah, pretty steady start, just the 1 boundary, a little bit of width. First ball from Ben Sanderson that Alex Lees was just able to get on top of, and just time. Didn't really hit it, did he? Just sort of checked it through the offside for 4 runs, but no real shots in anger so far from the Durham openers.
No.
Just reading the surface, aren't they?
Yeah, giving themselves a bit of time to get in. As I say, it's a used surface. It was used here Wednesday night against the Birmingham Bears in the 6th of 6 victories for the Steelbacks, and David Willey just bringing save square leg. That one played nicely, but straight at Matt Bretsky. Just wonder here whether Steelbacks just going a little bit short in these opening 13 deliveries. Through the course of the season so far, it's been quite kind of prodigiously hitting the top of the bales, isn't it? And these ones just feel a fraction short, but maybe that is in acknowledgement to the fact that this pitch might just be holding a little bit. Clark 4 of 5. Gives himself room down the leg side and flies past leg stump into the gloves of Lewis McManus. First sign of intent for the Durham opener. He's gone from almost second gear to 6th there, hasn't he? At Wantage Road.
Yeah, he's tried to mince that one down the ground, hasn't he? And to be fair, it was fuller from Willie, so had he have got any of it, could have disappeared back over his head where he was aiming, but it's a dot ball all the same.
Short leg side as well, isn't it, for Graham Clark? That one drags the length back and again targets that leg side boundary. Straight through to the gloves of McManus. Brings about a change in the field. Lloyd Pope comes up at deep third and sends Matt Bretsky down to, well, let's call it a deep backward point between friends. Why not? A little bit finer than that, isn't it? But
he's asking him to move just a bit squarer now to that more regulation. Deep backward point.
Turns out I knew exactly where he wanted to be. 3 balls into the over. That is straight at Ravi Bopara. Now, Joe, I'll let you use your line because something normally happens after 3 dot balls.
Absolutely does. And we have sort of seen that Graham Clark is looking to try and accelerate and get one away, as it were. But so far, he's not been able to execute the sort of power and vigour that he might have liked, but I'm sure he'll keep trying here.
Certainly the intent is there. The short ball pulled away into the leg side. It is going to be cut off on the boundary rope, though. Safe save, patrolling that leg side boundary. Gets it up on the splice of Graham Clark's cricket back there, so it just comes through for a single. He's got a happy hunting ground here, though, wasn't it? 2023, 102 not out against the Steelbacks. And again, that leg side boundary's got to be tempting, isn't it?
Yeah, no matter how much you talk about it pre-game and try not to get over-concerned with the short boundary, it's definitely in the back of the batter's minds.
That one is going into the leg side once again. Lees will come back for a second. They'll take on Bretsky. Good arm by the South African international to the gloves of Lewis McManus. 3 done in the power play, 16 for no loss. A very, very good over for David Willey and the Steelbacks.
Yeah, brilliant from the captain. He's had a fantastic start to the Blast this year with both bat and ball. Yeah. Ben Sanderson to go in tandem for another over.
Yeah, Ben Sanderson's one of those white ball bowlers. You could just bowl the 4 through, Ben. If you're in good rhythm, bowl the 4 through. We have seen him at the death. We saw him against Durham in the death 12 months ago here in the 24 blast. He was, well, quite frankly, destructive at New Road, wasn't he? 4 wickets in the final over against the Worcestershire Rapids a couple of weeks ago. But can he extract? Can he pick up a wicket early for the Steelbacks? That is into the leg side, muscled really by Graham Clark. It's going to go for 4. Certainly won't be the prettiest shot Graham Clark will ever play in his cricket career, but the end result is 4, and that is all that matters. Moves on to 9.
Yeah, the first 4 of his innings, and you're right, it didn't sound too great off the bat, but he sort of just, that bottom hand's come through and he's managed to thread the gap between mid-on and mid-wicket that was in the ring, and it's gone through to the boundary. But yeah, just looking at Graham Clark's numbers, striking at 167 this year, so he's a player with fire, that's for sure.
Destructive. 1 out on the leg side. Sanderson goes again, appeal for LBW. I think that's probably a bit high. Almost sounded a little bit woody as well, didn't it? But leg byes have been signalled by the umpire. Another sign of intent for Graham Clark. How long can the Steelbacks keep frustrating the Durham opener? 12 off, or 9 off 12. Is that going to be enough if he's been sent out there with that licence by Ryan Campbell to get Durham off to a flyer? 9 off 8 for Lees. Fielder out deep backward point. 1 at deep square leg, dot ball. Sanderson played back to the bowler, well defended off his own bowling. Again, another healthy round of applause from the Northamptonshire faithful that have made their way in on. It's been a cracking day up here, isn't it? About 27 degrees. Getting a little bit overcast now, but it's been warm. Town centre was buzzing today.
It's been lovely. Perfect evening to come and watch the cricket.
Dave Willey there just pushing George Scrimshaw a bit squarer on the 45. That one timed nicely, but straight at safe save at mid-wicket. Just one thing I've noticed so far, and I don't know whether it's because of the noise, I don't know whether it's because of the backdrop, I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like Dave Willey's just struggling to catch the eye of the fielders that he wants to move in the particular directions. I know Northamptonshire have been, well, rushed at the back end of their bowling innings, haven't they, to get through and make sure they start that 20th over by the cutoff. So it's something that I'm sure Dave will have an eye on, and hopefully the fielders will respond. One played nicely again into the leg side. Luke Proctor does the fielding at mid-on, finding a resurgence in his T20 career. The Red Bull captain here at Northamptonshire. Had to wait since, what was it, 5 years, wasn't it? I think since he last played a blast game.
Yeah, almost 5 years. I think it was the 1st of October 2020. Sounds a bit rogue, doesn't it? October, playing a T20, but obviously that was the year of COVID. So the season was extended accordingly.
Final delivery of the 4th over then. Still wicketless, the Steelbacks. Slow ball straight through Graham Clark. Ben Sanderson, arms outstretched, gets the breakthrough. The destructive Clark goes for 9. And Durham 22 for 1 as Ben Sanderson gets another.
Yeah, and it's you felt like it's been coming. To be fair, the Steelbacks have bowled very tightly in these first 4 overs, and Graham Clark was just trying to create something there, wasn't he? He was just searching for the boundary at the back end of the over because it had only gone for 6 so far. Obviously trying to utilise the 2 outfielders in the power play. Gone to sweep it behind square. Got himself in all manner of trouble. Ben Sanderson doesn't miss the stumps, does he? So
he doesn't drift far away, does he, from the stumps, does Ben Sanderson? Very much a case of you miss, I hit, straight through Graham Clark, into middle stump. It looked like he just pushed that out the front of the hand there, Ben Sanderson. Little change of pace, maybe?
Potentially a variation. It did seem like that. Brings Ollie Robinson to the crease. It's the end of the over. It's going to be Luke Proctor, a man we just mentioned, to come into the attack from the David Capel end. Alex Lees. strikes him down the ground. First ball, just a bit full from Luke Proctor, and Alex Lees just puts his hands through that one. Second boundary of his innings. Lovely strike back down the ground.
Yeah, loosener, wasn't it, from Luke Proctor? A long half volley. You could tell at the speed at which he swiftly turned around and made his way back to the end of his mark that he didn't really want to see that one again.
Better length this time from Proctor, but Lees just pushes it out to Safe Zabe on the cover boundary. Just come through for a single. Yeah, it's Ollie Robinson out of the crease, not Colin Ackerman that you can see on your screens. Career best the other day against Derby in their victory up at Chester Street for Ollie Robinson. 70 he scored. Not slip back in play. Ricardo to come back in alongside Lewis McManus. Oh, and he's got him. First ball. Top of off stump, Luke Proctor. Ollie Robinson has to go. First ball duck for him. Durham 26 for 2.
Not been his happiest hunting ground against the Steelbacks in T20 cricket, Ollie Robinson. It was a 3-ball duck here in 2024 as part of that catastrophic start for Durham. And then looking back through the numbers, high score of 12 against Northampton in, 5 innings, I think. Yeah, he won't be desperate to come back to Wantage Road anytime soon, will he?
It's a classic in cricket, isn't it? When you get a big score one day, a career best, in fact, it was on Wednesday evening, and then it's a sport that just humbles you. And he's out first ball this evening. And this time it is Colin Ackerman.
It's a cruel game, isn't it?
4.
It's a cruel game.
Steelbacks doing what Steelbacks have done so far this year, and that's taking wickets in the power play. And I'll say, off stump doesn't move. Proctor's through the defence of Ollie Robinson on that one. Here he is, first ball to Ackerman. Uses his feet and comes down the pitch and just pushes through mid-off region. I think they'll get a couple. Might even go all the way. Some good fielding there from David Willey. He'll come back for 3. Pulled just back inside the rope.
He is a phenomenal athlete, David Willey. He's one of those cricketers, just trains harder than anybody else. He's out-sprinted Ben Sanderson there. He's had, probably about 15, 20, even 30 yards to make up on him there. And kept it inside the boundary rope at the last minute, saving his team 1.
Lee's back onto strike. This time just nudges it through mid-wicket. Dive from Ravi Bapara was in vain as it beats him, but Bretsy comes round from the deep square boundary. Come back for a couple of runs. 32 for 2, I believe is the score. Scoreboard on your screen's just catching up. Yeah, there we go. Final ball of the over. Back of a length from Proctor. It's just worked off his hit from Alex Lees, and he'll come back for another 2 again. Bretsky running round, does the fielding. 34 for 2 at the end of the 5th over. So 1 more to go in this power play.
Good comeback by Luke Proctor, wasn't it? Went for 4 down the ground off the first ball of the over, and then picking up the wicket of the dangerous Ollie Robinson without scoring later on in the over. Get a replay of that. Top of off, what a place to live. Just kissing the bail, wasn't it? Just enough. Robinson stares back at the ground that's been a bit of a nightmare for him.
Ben Sanderson's going to have his 3rd in the power play from this Lynn Wilson centre end. To the new man to the crease, Colin Ackerman. See if we can pick up a 3rd wicket here. Full, driven off the toe of the bat to David Willey at mid-on. Oh, Ben Sanderson with another dot. Got a brilliant dot ball percentage in the competition this year. Prior to this game, it was sitting at 56.25%. I think he had a pretty good dot ball percentage last year as well, from all reckoning.
He didn't play all of last year, did he? Kind of came into the side as the tournament developed. Lewis McManus up to the stumps as well in response to Ackerman shuffling down to Sanderson.
Stays in his crease this time. Just a bit shorter from Sanderson. It'll only be one out to Bretsky. Deep square boundary.
Ackerman led the attack last year, didn't he? Here at Wantage Rose, 70 or 52 for the man that had just moved up to Leicestershire, or from Leicestershire the season before. Second season now for Durham.
Short ball from Sanderson, and that will be 4 runs for Alex Lees. No fielder behind square. Saves just in front. Square over to that. It's probably the shortest part of the ground for Alex Lees, I would say, down towards Mensah, and he just was equal to short ball from Ben Sanderson. So 3rd boundary for him. 3 balls left of the power play. It's a better length there from Sanderson, and it's timed nicely. Beats Proctor, who's chasing after it, and they'll come back for a couple. Lees moves to 25. There's been quite a few 2s run already tonight, hasn't there?
Yeah, as we said at the start, didn't we? There are pockets here at the county grounds, and some of them, particularly with the way that Alex Lees is striking into the 2 kind of deep or long on, long off pockets, they just get longer and longer, don't they? To be fair, the one at long off has been kind of cut in, I think, a little bit, normally out a little bit further. But certainly that shot down to deep backward square is incredibly short this evening.
Slower ball this time from Sanderson, and just open the blade as Alex Lees down to the man at 3rd man, which was Lloyd Pope. 42 for 2. Deep backward point and a deep square for Ackerman. Fuller this time, driven, stopped nicely there by Justin Broad, I think it is, at mid-wicket. With that sun-affected cap that he so often wears. Brings power play to a close. So Durham 43 for 2 at the end of the power play. Northampton picking up a couple of wickets in Graham Clark and Ollie Robinson. 1 for Ben Sanderson, 1 for Luke Proctor. Steady start.
Yeah, kind of feels relatively 50-50, maybe with the 2 wickets that the Steelbacks have picked up, having been asked to bowl first, would put them fractionally in front, but I don't think you could say it's much more than about 55-45 at the moment. 43 runs on the board for Durham, and Alex Lees timing the ball very nicely.
George Scrimshaw into the attack then. His first ball, and it's short. He has a swing at it, does Ackerman. It's just given as one for the over by umpire Neil Bainton. So we've got 5 out on the ropes now. Or is it just the 4 for the time being? I think it's just 4, isn't it? Fine leg, 3rd man. Deep cover point and a deep backward square for Scrimshaw. Oh, again, it's back for length. Timed nicely by Ackerman, but straight to Justin Broad, who fumbles it, and they're going to run on the fumble. They come back quite nicely for a couple. You know what they say about hitting the sweepers hard? That's exactly what Ackerman did there, just with that extra pace that George Scrimshaw possesses.
Yeah, he did the first bit well, didn't he, Justin Broad? He kept his fumble in front of him, which I think was that deterrent to stop them coming back, but that's that failure to pick it up clean the second time allowed Ackerman to come back.
Yes, and he's through him. George Scrimshaw, leg stump, pushed back. Just trying to push it off the back foot through the offside, through the defences of Colin Ackerman. Scrimshaw adds to his wicket tally for the year. Takes him to 11. Let's just have a look at that again. I'm not sure.
Big inside edge, wasn't it? Big inside edge from Colin Ackerman. Looked disgusted with himself, didn't he, as it crashed into leg stump. How good is it to see George Scrimshaw back on the cricket field? He played a handful of games at best in 2024. Did okay, played that one championship game as well, but then missed the remainder of the season. Worked really hard over the winter to get his fitness back, to get back on the cricket field. Hasn't played red ball cricket, just been used for the T20 so far. As you said, 11 wickets. It's almost like having a new player in the squad.
Yeah, he adds so much, doesn't he? And that was always a thought when he was signed by Northampton, the impact that he can have in the white ball format. So it's nice to see him sort of hitting his straps and into a good rhythm, taking a career best, wasn't it? Against, it was 4 for 19, I believe, against Lancashire up at Old Trafford last week. He bowled well again against the Bears, and he's taken a wicket with just his third ball here tonight as well. Brings Will Rhodes out to the crease, the left-hander. It's in short ball again from Scrimshaw. It'll be given as a no ball because obviously we had that one for the over in his first delivery against Ackerman that he played and missed at. Can obviously only bowl one short ball in the over, so it'll be a free hit for Will Rhodes, which I'm sure he'll be thrilled at to get early on in his innings.
Good way to get off the mark, isn't it? Not off one, Will Rhodes, and gets a freebie second up. Does it get any better than that as a batter in T20 cricket?
I don't think it does it?
Just a freebie to get yourself off the mark. Lovely job. Thank you very much.
And he has still only got the 4 out as well. So comes again, and it's short. It's pulled. It's not timed from Will Rhodes, but it'll be 4. Because as I say, it's just the 4 out from Scrimshaw. Not that slip in. And say that's probably where that 5th fielder would have been. The thing is, with a no ball, you can't change the field if it is the same batsman on strike.
Brings up the 50 as well for Durham. 51 for 3 off 6.4 overs. The timing of it doesn't feel straightforward from a distance. It feels like the ball is a little bit too paced at the moment.
Again, short down the leg side this time. Scrimshaw. So he'll have to re-bowl that one as well. Just jogs back to his mark, disappointed with himself with that one. Yeah, I think that's sort of the beauty of this Steelbacks attacking, that you've got someone like George Scrimshaw that can bowl from one end, who is probably 10 mile an hour, 15 mile an hour quicker than someone of a Ben Sanderson or a Luke Proctor at the other end. So sort of just putting the batsman off timing-wise on a pitch like this. Scrimshaw in again short down the leg side. He's just trying to bowl a tight line. Just a little bit too straight to left-hander Will Rhodes, staying over the wicket.
Yeah, he's almost just trying to get out the over, isn't he, now? He's got Justin Broad and Lloyd Pope down on the deep leg side boundary, so almost just trying to put one on the hip for get away from the over with a couple of singles. Don't overcorrect.
This one just strikes Will Rhodes and they just come through for a single. Signalled as a leg by. So yeah, 2 left-handers at the crease in Alex Lees and Will Rhodes.
Just must have been a little bit of overexcitement from George Scrimshaw, having picked up that wicket of Ackerman, then to go short again, having already bowled that one bumper in the over. You can't help but say that was just a mistake, wasn't it? It must have been a case of just a little bit of a rush of blood to the head for Scrimshaw.
Final ball of the over. Again, just worked into the leg side from Alex Lees as David Willey does the fielding as he pushed himself back to the mid-wicket boundary. So 55 for 3 at the end of the 7th over. Wicket in his first over for George Scrimshaw. Start for him, finding the middle of the pitch, as he so often does with his extra height bounce.
Bit of Justin Broad from the Lynn Wilson centre end, replacing Sanderson after 3.
Yeah, and it was a bold call to use him for the 1 over the other night from David Willey, but he obviously felt like seam was going to be the way to go. Brought him into the attack and took a wicket. In his 1 over the other evening, did Justin Broad, and he's into the attack a bit earlier this evening from the Lynn Wilson indoor centre end. Comes into Alex Lees. Just back of a length, worked out towards safe save on that mid-wicket boundary. Just come through for the single.
Genuine all-round cricketer, isn't he, Justin Broad? Little bit of a floating role in that top 5, top 6. I think there's a right-hander who looks to dominate against spin. I think is kind of used as almost a bit of an impact player for the Steelbacks, and has done that role incredibly well so far in 2025 with a couple of 50s to his name already.
Just off Will Rhodes' hit, worked down towards Scrimshaw on the fine leg boundary. Yeah, and that's the thing. You can clearly see they want to just go in at the hip and just get Lees and Rhodes just hitting into the leg side, just managing where they want to get hit. Not give too much width, just Gretzky out on that deep point boundary. It's slapped out towards Gretzky this time. Just come through for a single. Brilliant piece of fielding there. Won't be many twos run if it's hit sort of 10 metres either side of Gretzky, knowing he's got an absolute gun arm on him.
Yeah, just had a watch of him there. He almost had a little bit of a stutter step in the build-up to fielding that, to make sure that his feet were in the perfect position to release that as quick as he possibly could.
Broaden again. It takes the outside edge of Will Rhodes, but it will just be a single because he's got Lloyd Pope down there on the third man boundary. It's a little bit of extra bounce there from Broad.
Yeah, genuine nick as well, wasn't it? Just kind of ran across Will Rhodes. Vasconcelos longly departed from that slip cordon though, so felt well safe.
Sure, and has he got a nick on that? He has. That one didn't bounce quite as much, but Lees has gone to pull it into the leg side. So Justin Broad took a wicket in his over the other night against the Bears, and he's done the same again today. Dismissing the man, Alex Lees. He's 29 off 22 balls for the Durham captain. Steelbacks 59 for 4. They've got Durham.
We said about what a fantastic way for Will Rhodes to get off the mark with a freebie. What a horrible way to end an innings with a strangle down the leg side. It can be described in no other way, can it? Just Alex Lees couldn't quite catch up with it. Good take by Lewis McManus. Would have been unsighted for a little while there as it was blocked by Alex Lees. And the Steelbacks have got 4 in the 8th over.
Yeah, what we were saying about that ball that sort of went across Rhodes, that he genuinely nicked the ball before down to third man. And that one wasn't that much fuller in length, and it's just not bounced quite as much. Lees has gone to pull it. Caught behind. Brings Ben Rain. Another left-hander to the crease. He works that one off his hip, but it will just be a single well fielded there by Save, equally as athletic as Gretzky on either side of the field. So it's a good first over for Justin Broad. Just a 5 conceded in that wicket of the Durham captain, Alex Lees, and they're 60 for 4 after 8 overs.
It's been a great continuation, hasn't it, for the Steelbacks at the back end of that power play. They had 2 wickets to their name after those 6 overs. They've picked up another couple since then. Lloyd Pope will replace George Scrimshaw from the David Capel end. So just a 1 wicket for George Scrimshaw, successful one. 1 for 11 it was. A little bit untidy at the back end, but picked up the dangerous Colin Ackerman. I mentioned he made 70 here in 2024. Lee's the latest man to fall. He was 29 off 22. Lloyd Pope, the Australian wrist spinner, into the attack. David Capelin, long leg side boundary, which is being undoubtedly the reason as to why Lloyd Pope's been given this end. Bit of an interesting combination in the middle here between Ben Rain and Will Rhodes. Will Rhodes hasn't played a lot of T20 cricket for a while. I think it would have been 2021. He would have last played a blast game for Warwickshire before moving up the country to Durham. Again, long leg side boundary, so a good matchup for the Steelbacks and for David Willey to bring his wristy into the attack. Almost feels situational, doesn't it, that Lloyd Pope's been brought in now and Scrimshaw got hooked after one. That is a bit of a drag down, picked up really well by Ben Rain, and that is muscled just in front of David Willey at deep mid-wicket. He's a powerful man, Ben Rain. Genuine all-round cricketer, hits the ball miles. And this ground isn't going to be big enough for Ben Rain if he gets in.
Yeah, he packs a punch. That just fully skipped off the surface. I wondered for a moment if David Willey might be able to pull out a one-handed stop.
Thought about it. That's going to challenge David Willey again. I think he's going to cut this one off. He does. He does brilliantly to keep it inside the rope. Saves the side a couple of runs. So the logic of the long leg side boundary isn't paying a deterrent for Ben Rain. Strikes, what, 131 in his blast career from 122 matches. 2 balls left of Lloyd Pope's opening over. That one is going all the way down towards the players' dressing room. Top tier of the heavy sweep, Ben Rain. We said he packs a punch. If you need an exhibit or an example, he didn't have to wait long. 6 for Ben Rain in the first 6 of the evening. That's massive.
Yeah, he's minced those first proper 3 shots off of Lloyd Pope. He's come out the middle of the bat on every occasion.
74 for 4. Takes the 6. Takes the single. And why wouldn't you when you've just hit the ball that nicely? 75 for 4 after 9. Ben Rain, 15 off 6. Will Rhodes, 7 off 6. Durham ticking along at 8.3. I think that might just pose a little bit of a question for Dave Willey now. Does he continue with Lloyd Pope? Does he look to replace him from the David Capel end? Good sign of intent for Ben Rain. Not to hit Lloyd Pope out of the attack, but just give Dave Willey a bit of a head scratch.
Yeah, and it's often usually you think about an off-spinner matching up to a left-handed batter potentially, as opposed to leg spinner, obviously, with any turn always coming back into the legs. Feeling like it's a bit of a...
Oh, it's up. Justin Broad continues. I think it's going to land safe, is it? Ravi Bopara can't quite get there. Just evades him running off the square at mid-wicket.
It had him interested for 8 to 10 seconds, I'd say there. He was always going away from the veteran Ravi Bopara.
Yeah, it kind of gapped Ravi Bopara and Matt Bretsky perfectly, didn't it? Falling safe into the offside. Rain 17 off 7 now. There's an appeal for LBW. He's gone a long way across and he's been given. Broad's got 2. The dangerous Ben Rain. It was enterprising. It was exciting, but it wasn't long enough for Durham. 17 off 8. Ben Rain, 77 for 5. Durham. What a comeback.
Yeah, it's brilliant from Broad. Pitched up, wasn't it? And Rain's moved across his stumps to flick it through the leg side was what he was trying there, and he's racked him on the pads in front of all 3. As I say, it was pretty full. So he has to go. Brings another left-hander to the crease in Jimmy Neesham.
Yeah, he triggered across there, didn't he? Ben Rain trying to target that short leg side boundary, trying to open up the angle. Justin Broad just pushed it a little bit fuller and pinned Ben Rain on the crease. The ball didn't really have very far to go at all. Umpire gave it some thought, which as a batter, you'll always appreciate that. But I think deep down, you'd have known you would have been pretty close. Jimmy Neesham, the next man for Durham, the former Steelback. 2022, he would have donned the jersey here at Northamptonshire. Average 40 with the bat at Wantage Road. Sure, you would have sat a few games in the crowds watching Jimmy Neesham play.
Yeah, he's a proper entertainer, is Jimmy Neesham.
On Broad with a beauty. Backed up here with Vasconcelos going back into the slip cordon. There's something in this for the bowlers. A little bit of nip, maybe a little bit of hold in the surface.
That one's similar to that one from the previous over that took the outside edge of Rhodes. That one's just climbed a little bit more than perhaps Neesham was expecting from that length, as we've spoken about.
Broad with 3 to go. Neesham watchful. Kind of feels like there's... Ben Rain went out there with the intent, didn't he? 5 down now, halfway through the innings. Do we see a little bit of watchfulness from Rhodes and Neesham for a couple of overs? Just try and set a bit of a platform for these two and then the Durham tail to come?
I think you definitely will see that from Rhodes.
What a beauty again, squaring up Neesham. Just nipping away from the New Zealand overseas, staring back at the surface. Genuine play and miss. Superb lines from Justin Broad. Can he get out of this over? It's just conceded 2 runs, and that came off the splice of Ben Rain's bat off the first ball. Picked up the wicket, 77 for 5. And at the halfway stage, as he beats James Neesham again, the score will remain at 77 for 5. Justin Broad's got a massive smile on his face, and a round of applause from the fans that have made their way into the ground this evening.
Brilliant over there from Justin Broad. Especially after sort of Ben Rain had come in with that intent. Took down Lloyd Pope for the first 6 of the innings, and Broad instantly getting him out in the following over has prompted a change from David Willey, and it's see Scrimshaw back into the attack.
Yep, 1 for 11 for George Scrimshaw. One flashes through to Lewis McManus. Well, I am genuinely quite curious, and I'll lean on you here, Joe, as the qualified professional in the room. But what do you think the conversation would have been? Would it be to bat a bit more conservatively for a while and try and load up late in the innings, or just keep going hard?
Yeah, it's an interesting debate, isn't it? Especially with the sort of I'll use the example of Neesham after this ball.
It's going to be a leg bite.
The sort of player that Jimmy Neesham is, he doesn't strike me as a guy that if he's trying to nudge it around and just get 1s and 2s and try and keep the scoreboard ticking, that's not going to bring out the best sort of shape from him as a batter. If he just keeps trying to strike the ball, look to hit the ball hard when it's there on a decent length or whatever, he might use his feet against Scrimshaw, just try and get his hands through the ball a bit more. I feel like that's more likely to see him at his best.
Yeah, first slip stays, Vasconcelos in there. That is short and pulled away by Neesham, just for a single down to Justin Broad.
And certainly with the way that we've seen T20 cricket played in general from teams all across the world, is that sort of just keep going mentality and keep trying to transfer pressure back onto the opposition. As we saw with Ben Rain, he came out and struck really nicely.
Yeah, it's definitely a popular school of thought, isn't it? With Will Rhodes on strike, 8 off 8. That one will make it 9 off 9. I think there would have been a lot of analytical work from people far more intelligent than myself, but kind of just turn around and say, well, if you bat for your 20 overs and you come up with 120 and you dig in, you're probably going to lose anyway. But can you keep going hard and score that 150 where your percentage chance of them being successful just keeps getting higher? And actually, your percentage chance if you score 110 isn't that much better than if you only score 80, for example. Neesham, the dangerous Neesham on strike. That one drifts down the leg side. Umpire just has a little stretch of the arm, so Scrimshaw will have to reload and bowl that one again.
Yeah, there's no doubting that these two obviously need a decent partnership, right? But I think the mindset that you've still got to look to score and look to be positive where you can.
But Neesham, well,
Respect.
I agree with you. I do agree with you, but at the moment, from what we can see, looking out the window here in the commentary box, he is playing that watchful role.
That almost reminds me, and I don't know if Steelbacks fans out there of a few years ago, when Richard Levy used to block his first couple of balls of an innings and then he just hit the next one out the park for 6. That was almost reminiscent of those days from Neesham.
Oh, and there is the swing from Neesham. It picks a big leading edge and races down to Luke Proctor at deep third for a single. So the first sign of intent for Neesham will allow him to keep the strike. Another nice round of applause from the Steelbacks fans. After 11, the score is 82 for 5. I mean, the one thing that they will certainly have an eye on is 8, 9, 10 Jack for Durham. Won't be the strongest with bat in hand. I've just had a quick look through. I think Zach Folks averages about 13 in T20 cricket. Does strike at 130, so that's a little bit of an anomaly there for Zach Folks next. But coming after that, you're almost getting down into kind of single-figure batting averages. Yes, they wouldn't have faced a lot of deliveries, and you have to take that into consideration. Broad continues, and Broad continues to beat James Neesham on the outside edge. Lewis,
I don't think he's laid bat on one from Broad yet, has he?
I don't think he has. I think Lewis McManus has just stared back there and kind of gone, how have you not nicked one of these yet?
Yeah, I wonder if there's any chat from some of those players that would have played with Jimmy Neesham a few years ago.
Potentially. 2 off 8 now for the New Zealand international. Dropped into the offside, just looking to try and get that innings underway, gather a bit of momentum. 3 off 9 now. That run rate just being clawed back by the Steelbacks, 7.32 runs per over. I don't think it's going to be an easy chase, whatever Durham post here. The pitch certainly feels lively. It's got something in it for the bowlers. Got a nice tinge of green, some live grass on the surface. 9 off 9 for Rhodes. Goes to 9 off 10. Luke Proctor there, coming in off that 30-yard circle. Fielders outside, deep third, deep point. Deep square leg, deep mid-wicket. Is there a... There is a fifth now that George Scrimshaw is just dropping down to fine leg as well. Halfway through this over. Another comfortable single taken to David Willey at mid-on.
Yeah, brilliant areas from Justin Broad, who's into his third over. Steelbacks have bowled really well here, don't get me wrong, and the pitch does look a bit tricky, but still best part of 8 overs left of this for Durham.
2 balls left. Neesham goes, inventive, gets it over Scrimshaw and runs down for 4 in front of the members at the Spencer Lounge. They just brought George Scrimshaw up off the boundary in an attempt to suffocate James Neesham. And he just scooped it over the, 6'8", 6'7" frame of George Scrimshaw at short fine leg.
He's done well to get underneath that because it was sort of 5th stump line, wasn't it? Well outside the off stump. Just get enough on it to get the boundary, Neesham.
Final ball of Broad's over and dropped into the offside. Look for a single. Take on Ravi Bopara if you dare. Dot ball to finish then. 88 for 5 after 12.
Yeah, brilliant work here from Steelbacks. Just the 7 boundaries for Durham so far in this innings. 6 fours, 1 6. You can see there on the Manhattan graphic. Since that over a 15 from Lloyd Pope, it's been pretty dry. Steelbacks have done well. Yeah, skipper David Willey bringing himself back into the attack. See if he can just get another wicket and really put Durham in a chokehold.
They've certainly gone for the rebuild, haven't they? They've elected to go for the rebuild between Will Rhodes and Jimmy Neesham.
In comes Willie. Just full, just worked up towards Vasconcelos at mid-on from Rhodes. Moves on to 11. It's got quite dark here at Wantage Road.
Yeah,
last 5 minutes or so.
Is there a thunderstorm due around midnight? Somewhere around there, I think, this evening. Normally does, doesn't it, when you get a day of warm weather? Not allowed it for very long.
Oh, just tailed back in to Neesham, that delivery from David Willey. No danger of a 2 on Bretsky's arm. Charging him from mid-wicket boundary. So 2 singles to start the over.
I've lost a fielder somewhere out there, Joe. What? There's 5 on the rope, isn't there?
Surely there's someone at...
I can't quite see round the corner.
Third man. It's got to be. Brought Bretsky into the ring for Will Rhodes. So a third fine. Backward square. A deep cover point.
Cameraman doing us a favour there, confirming there is a fielder down at deep third.
Some broad just move round for deep square there. It's full outside the off stump driven. Off the outside edge to Scrimshaw at third man. Another single. Yeah, I'm sure from a Durham perspective, they will... Obviously, they know that in terms of out-and-out batters, this partnership is crucial for them, and they'll be trying to build a platform between these two and not go too early, as it were, in terms of ball striking and searching for boundaries. Someone just pushed by Neesham out to save Sabe on the cover point boundary for another single.
I think it's important, yeah. At the end of the day, there isn't a bunny anymore in professional cricket. They don't exist. You don't get a number 11 that doesn't own a cricket bat and has to borrow it from somebody else. Everybody can strike the ball. Power hitting is such an important part of the game. Can't have a career just being one-dimensional in T20 cricket.
Back of the length from William. Rhodes pulls it to mid-on. Vasconcelos with an applauded tumbling stop. Picks it up cleanly for 4th single of the over.
He's done well there, hasn't he, Vasco? That's just taken one of those horrible kind of bobbling bounces as it makes its way down to you, just as it skips off the edge of the square.
Long on out for Neesham now. Just prodded outside the off stump there from Neesham. So Willie closes out his over well with a dot. Just the 5 singles from it. Durham 93 for 5.
Good finish.
Across and just, yeah, he just wafted at it, didn't he, Neesham?
Yeah,
9 off 14, he is.
He made a great point when he walked out and started his innings. When I asked you that question, you said, I don't think it brings out the best of him. And I think so far it's proving exactly that. He's just finding it quite difficult to, looking to rotate the strike, isn't he, with Will Rhodes, essentially?
Yeah, I'm surprised with the keeper back as well. He hasn't tried to use his feet, come down the pitch, and I guess, yeah, exert some of his sort of prowess and impetus on the game that we know he's so capable of. And it's going to be Justin Broad for another over. It's just taking the outside edge again there from Will Rhodes. Not fielded cleanly from Pope, and they'll come back for 2. Yeah, it's been brilliant areas here from Justin Broad from this Lynn Wilson indoor centre end.
Bowling all the way through, isn't he? 3 overs, 2 for 13 before the start of this one. Good running by Will Rhodes there, wasn't it, to come back for a second?
It's just pulled out into the pocket. I think they'll come back for another pretty easy 2 this time. Picked his gap well. Save comes round, does the fielding. Another couple to Rhodes.
We're getting closer to that moment where Rhodes or Neesham just look to accelerate. Yes, fine. We've said everybody can clear the rope, but you don't want to leave 42 deliveries, do you, for guys that aren't spending much time in the middle?
Fuller driven back past Broad. Just be single, despite David Willey not picking it up too cleanly. But as we've mentioned in terms of the pocket sizes, if they strike it hard into the pockets, not necessarily searching for boundaries, but looking for twos, if they strike it well enough, they might get 4 anyway. If they get 4 or 5 twos in over, you're up towards 8, 9, 10 without really even trying to force a boundary. So that will be something that these batters will be thinking about, I'm sure. Then just missed time there. Genuine outside edge. Goes down wide of third man for another couple. He's got him in all sorts, hasn't he, Broad? Broad to Neesham. German international against Kiwi international. Does a bit of gardening, which we've seen so often throughout this innings. He has been a little bit tentative, Neesham. Just nudges it into the leg side, and they might get a couple again here if they run well, and they do. Just trickles out past 30-yard circle. So yeah, they've accumulated well in this over. And just running well between the wickets. Broad hasn't bowled badly whatsoever. He hasn't given them anything. He hasn't given them any boundary balls. We've not seen many of them tonight in these first 14 overs from the Steelbacks anyway. But that's what I was saying about just sort of maximising the running, and you can accumulate without really trying. Final ball of Broad's spell. Neesham gives himself room. He swings. Big appeal for caught behind. Umpire is not interested. He's giving it the Stuart Broad celeb appeal, wasn't he, Justin Broad?
I think Stuart Broad would have been proud of that one. He's almost run off to square leg there to start celebrating, isn't he? Lewis McMahon as quickly has kind of gone, no, there probably wasn't much on there, Justin. So you better get yourself the cap back. Always embarrassing, isn't it, when you have to go back to the umpire after you've done that and take the cap?
It brings Justin Broad's spell to a close. And a fantastic spell it was. 4 overs, 2 for 22, I believe it was. Another over for Scrimshaw then. Again, back of the length. His sort of length that he operates on. Nudged into the vacant square leg region for another single. So Will Rhodes, his partnership worth 25 now.
Catching up to even money, isn't it? Was sticky, turgid to start with, but just shy of 100 strike rate between the two of them now. Neesham back on strike, though. Something's got to happen here for Neesham.
Yeah, he's faced 17 balls. No boundaries. 1 boundary, sorry, the ramp. And this one's just worked back to the square to Justin Broad. Again, just another single. Yeah, he's not looked his fluent self. Steelbacks fans would have remembered from a few years ago.
I don't think there'll be many that are upset by that, though, Joe. They'll be enjoying the fact that Jimmy Neesham is 14 off 18 and just finding it a little bit tricky here at Wantage Road.
Guided nicely from Will Rhodes to the man at third. So much so that they can come back for a couple. Just pushed to the left-hand side of where third man was. Timed it nicely. Just used the pace there with Will Rhodes. A little bit of width across him.
Really, really well timed. Big question here for Dave Willey is how does he round this innings out with the bowlers that he's got left?
Scrimshaw and again, just
he needs to find 2. Dave Willey himself has got 1. Ben Sanderson's got 1. George Scrimshaw's got 1 after this. Luke Proctor went for 12 from his first. Lloyd Pope went for 15 from his first. If these 2 are still in, do you go Luke Proctor? If you get down towards the tail end, do you bring the leg spinner in?
I was thinking about Ravi. Would you bowl Ravi for an over?
Well, he's not bowled much this year.
Oh, no.
Bowled 42 deliveries in the 25 blast.
Scrimshaw and again, uncomfortable for Rhodes as he tucks it off his hip They've come back for a couple. As again, there's a bit of a misfield from Broad. There's probably been 3 misfields, hasn't there, out there tonight, where they've run the first one hard, looked for a 2, obviously seen the misfield and then able to come through quite comfortably for it. And that's the beauty of ensuring that as a batter, you run the first one hard, put the pressure on the fielder. If they don't pick it up cleanly, you can then come through for a couple of runs. Final ball of the over. Fuller this time from Scrimshaw. Well fielded again by David Willey. Greeted by warm applause from around the ground. I'd say that's a +3 for David Willey there. Had he not have stopped that, it was probably going to race past him to the boundary for 4. Durham 109 for 5. Will Rhodes is 24. Neesham's 14. Captain bringing himself back into the attack from this Lynn Wilson centre end.
Yeah, this is a nod from the captain. He realises how big this partnership could be for the remainder of the game. There's 30 legal deliveries left. David Willey himself has got 1 over left in this innings. Could have saved himself for the end, but he wants to break this now before it creates or causes too much more damage for the Steelbacks. 109 for 5, 30 balls to go.
Into Rhodes. Again, similar to the ball that we saw in the previous over from Broad. It's gone down wide of third man. Pope will come round and do the fielding, and it'll be 2, and it's just extra bounce. It's just taken the outside edge, and it's leapt over the 30-yard circle, wide of Lloyd Pope at third man. I mean, from a Durham perspective, I'm sure the bowlers are sat out there in the dressing room thinking encouraging signs for when we go out to bowl, trying to work out what a competitive total will be in this sort of last 5 overs. Well, he's in again. Again, comes off the outside edge, goes down to Pope. It'll only be a single this time, but you can definitely see that sort of effective length that Northampton have bowled for pretty much the entirety of this innings, and it has been a real struggle for Durham.
Yeah, well, if Durham have been watching, which they certainly will have been, I think they'll be employing almost a fly backward point, which I don't think has ever been played in the game of cricket. Almost that kind of, 10 yards outside the 30-yard circle would be perfect, wouldn't it? There's been about 3 or 4 catches there so far.
Dot ball. That one's just wide outside the off stump of Neesham, and he just tries to sort of poke it precisely down towards third man to get a single, but Luke Proctor was there equal to it at a very backward point, sort of almost on the 45 angle, you'd say. Ball before Neesham looked around the gap at fine leg for executing the ramp, and he's just dogged that one out behind square on the leg side to come through for a single. Now he's going to be asking for, what's he asking for? More gloves.
You mentioned Ravi Bopara. As I say, he's bowled 42 deliveries in the 2025 blast. Have you got a theory at all as to why he might not have bowled as much this summer as what he did last year?
What if it's just a conditions thing and David Willey thinking that other bowlers are more suited on the day, and he's bowled him. Full this time from Willey. The Yorker does for Will Rhodes, and he's telling his troops not to worry about the celebration because they might be a little bit strapped for time. It's full from Willey. Leg stump Yorker that does for Will Rhodes, and it brings the partnership to a close between Rhodes and Neesham. First wicket of the evening for the skipper David Willey. And as you said, Dan, just before the over began, Willey knew how important it was to break this partnership between the last 2 out-and-out batters, you would say, of the Durham lineup.
Yeah, partnership had made its way up to 36 off 39, so it wasn't what you'd call electric, but in the context of the game, crucial really for Durham, because they were at the risk of being blown away, weren't they, by the Steelbacks at that particular time. And on another day, one of those leading edges might have gone to hand, but a good partnership, important, and has certainly allowed and created a platform here for Jimmy Neesham, Zach Folks, Nathan Souter, Matty Potts, and latterly Callum Parkinson to add a little bit of tax to this innings, 113 for 6. But Northampton are struggling here. I mean, the cutoff is, well, it's been moved. They need to get this done by 12 minutes to 8.
Round the wicket, Willie. First ball to Zach Folkes, who just defends that up towards Bretsky at extra cover. David Willie's spell comes to a close. 1 for 17 from his 4 overs.
And that nice, stylish front foot defensive by Zach Folkes will certainly help the Steelbacks there. They've got 3 overs that they need to bowl in the next 13 minutes. And with the run-up of George Scrimshaw, that's not going to be particularly quick, these 6 deliveries, as he's about to start his 4th. That's what I kind of wonder with Ravi Papara is, yes, he's efficient with the energy at the crease, but actually it's quite a slow over for Ravi. It's still quite a long run. And I wonder whether that's just kind of in the mind of David Willey, particularly with that cut-off time, and something that the Steelbacks have really kind of flirted with through the course of this season so far. Scrimshaw then to finish. That's a good bumper. And umpires are going to look, oh, it's going to be signalled wide. There was a long kind of eye contact conversation there by the 2 umpires, wasn't there? We'll get a replay of that, I'm sure, but looked like a good bumper from... Well, caveat, we are sat in an elevated position at fine leg, so it's not exactly the greatest place to call a wide on height. 114 for 6 then. We start again. That's down the ground. David Willey's underneath. Oh, it's just evaded David Willey at mid-on. He was interested for a long, long while as it floated down the ground. And Neesham picks up 4. He moves to 19. It wasn't well timed. He's cleared the front leg. He's given himself room and he's used his power to pick up 4.
Yeah, he just triggered back slightly, didn't he? Almost looking for that fuller length that Scrimshaw isn't particularly known for bowling for, but just sort of bowled into that and he could get his hands through it. But yeah, it wasn't with any great timing.
Natural length of Scrimshaw. That one there just defended, half fielded by Vasconcelos at backward point. Allows Neesham through for a single, which I don't think will upset the Steelbacks. Although the start to this over isn't going to help the Steelbacks with the timekeepers. It's now 11 minutes remaining on the clock. 2.4 overs that need to be bowled in that time frame. That's the disadvantage of having your spinner hit out the attack, isn't it? Do you have to squeeze an over from Lloyd Pope in here just to try and gain a bit of time back? Otherwise, your last over may be worse with 4 outside the rope, or the ring, sorry. Scrimshaw to Folkes. Oh, and that's an absolute snorter. Folkes has a little nibble at it, doesn't he, as he goes through to McManus, just twitches. That's not one you want early on in your innings, is it?
No, thank you. Yeah, even McManus was sort of done by how much it bounced. I think maybe could have took that reverse cut with how much it did, but went into his gloves all the same.
3 balls to go. That one, thick outside edge, flies down to Justin Broad at backward point for a single. So Zach Folkes, the New Zealand international. 2 Kiwis in the middle for Durham. Zach Folkes was one of the overseas cricketers for the Birmingham Bears in 2024. Made a trip further up the country for his 2nd stint as an overseas professional in the UK. Eight wickets at 23s for Zach Folkes in 2024, and that is a big play and a miss from Jimmy Neesham.
I think that's the first time we've seen the full flourish of Jimmy Neesham's swing as he's tried to cart that one into the car park and over the pavilion. He doesn't get anywhere near it from a Steelbacks perspective. We'll be glad.
Yeah,
he really hasn't timed any at all tonight, Neesham.
That was top tier of the Spencer Lounge, wasn't it? If that was connected with Jimmy Neesham again, the Steelbacks just a little bit untidy, isn't it, with the time management. 8 minutes remain on the clock to get to the start of the 20th. That's banged in, it's pulled away, it's going to be 4 in front of square. That's pure muscle from Jimmy Neesham. He moves on to 24 off 24, so he's breaking his way back to even money there. 124 for 6 after 17. 18 legal deliveries remain in the innings. And probably at the moment, the biggest concern, as I've said, for the Steelbacks is the clock.
Yeah, welcome boundary there to finish Scrimshaw's over for Durham. And it'll be Luke Proctor who comes back into the attack for the Steelbacks for his second over. First over went for 12, but he did pick up that wicket of Ollie Robinson first ball.
Yeah, it was that half volley, wasn't it, to open the account for Luke Proctor that really did the damage. Just a bit of a check drive from Alex Lees down the ground for 4 off his first delivery. Does return. As we said earlier, spent a long time out of the T20 side here at Northamptonshire. Would have been the back end of 2020 before he made his way into the side in 2025. That is chipped into the offside. It's floating in the air for an age. David Willey's underneath it, and it's just going to evade the captain. And Folks will come back for a second. He's one of those fielders, Dave Willey, isn't he? That it goes in the air and you think, well, there's going to be a catch here. And it just kept getting big on the captain.
Yeah, he took an unbelievable catch on Wednesday evening, running back over his shoulder. And I wondered if we were always going to see a repeat on the mirrored side of the ground tonight. But yeah, that one was just going away from him.
Nicely timed by Zach Folks. I think it's just going to be a single. It is. Neesham turns him down for a second. So Folks has come out with good intent. He's 4 off 5. Neesham, though, it does feel like this is all on his shoulders, doesn't it? 24 off 24. All the experience. Played in all the leagues around the world. New Zealand international. Northamptonshire just getting this time right. 4 deliveries left in this one, plus then 1 more with 6 minutes left on the clock. Fielders on the boundary, down the ground. So Proctor bowling full. Neesham throws his head back in disgust that he's not been able to connect with that one and just guided over Lewis McManus for 4.
Yeah, they're all having a bit of a chuckle after that one. Neesham, rightfully annoyed, takes himself to square leg. Has a word with himself before facing back up again.
Steelbacks have got 5 outside the circle. Slower ball picked up to the leg side. That is going all the way by Neesham. Is that the bit that ignites the batting for Neesham? He moves to 30. Whether there's a stiff breeze down there, it doesn't look like it with the way the flag's going, but I thought he'd middled that.
Oh, I thought that had gone up in the air and he was in danger of being caught. It didn't clear the boundary by much at all, did it? Again, I don't think he fully completed his swing. Neesham, the change of pace from Proctor almost worked. It went for 6.
Sounded good. 30 off 26 for Neesham. Leg stump Yorker by Luke Proctor. They're going to look for 2. Big shout of no by Neesham. Great bit of fielding on the boundary from Matt Bretsky, keeping it down to just a single. Absolute rocket arm from the South African international. Good bit of business to bring Matt Bretsky back after a fantastic 2024. Was the leading run scorer in the competition for the Steelbacks. Played a key part to that home quarter-final here against Somerset in 2024. 1 delivery left then of Luke Proctor's over. And that 19th is going to have to be quick. Oh, my word. That's nearly cleaned up. Neesham, that's brilliant by Dave Willey. Saved his side 3. I was more focused on the fact that Neesham had to do a bit of a Keanu Reeves Matrix impression to get out the way of this, as this was tracked back at him by Folks. But Willey, what a bit of work that is. Saves his side 3, 135 for 6 off 18. 12 legal deliveries to go, 7.5 runs per over. Joe, where are they going to get to?
I think they're eyeing up. You want to 150 plus, definitely. I think that's sort of a non-negotiable from this point. Yeah, probably as close to 160 as they can. They'll probably feel like they're definitely in the game. Competitive total. It's hard to know what a good score is, I'd say, but
yeah, Sanderson from the David Capel end. That's inventive. Scrimshaw's getting around to it. It's a simple catch and it's gone. That partnership that was looking dangerous has been broken straight away by the leading wicket taker in the 2025 Vitality Blast. Sanderson back into the attack, gets the wicket of Falk straight away, goes for 5. And it's 135 for 7. And the perfect start to this little tail end innings. Cutoff has just been extended again. It's up to 10 to 8 now, but this means these 5 Ben Sanderson deliveries have got to be done inside those 3 overs. How easy is that to manage on the field? Are you able to communicate with the umpire and find out what obviously you're not captain of your side. It's not something maybe you have to worry about, but are you able to kind of lean on the umpire and kind of say, how are we getting on here? Are we close? Have we got time?
Yeah, they definitely give you an indication sort of as throughout the innings is going on to let you know if you're a couple minutes down or whatever it is, or if you're going to be close. And then, yeah, I guess it gets to this point and you take a wicket or whatever. Come on, add an extra minute, will you please?
They've taken an age to walk out to the middle umpire.
They know what they're doing,
surely we get another one. We get another minute. Matt Potts in at number 9, was carded at 10. Had a promotion up against Nathan Souter. Takes off stump as a guard. England international now in this format, made his debut up at Chester Street in that England versus West Indies T20 series. Sanderson starts on the money. Played nicely by Potts, out for a single. Simple role here for Matt Potts, isn't it? I think it's get Neesham back on strike as often as you possibly can. Potentially a little free hit off the final ball of this over if the cards fall that way for Durham. 136 for 7. 10 deliveries left.
Yeah, it's pretty simple from the Steelbacks' perspective. Can Jimmy Neesham face as few of these deliveries that are left in this innings as possible?
Fielders up inside the circle behind square. Oh, it's a great Yorker from Sanderson. The peel from McManus. Eyes on the umpire who signals runs.
And when he is on strike, trying to ensure that it's only a single. That'll be what the Steelbacks are hoping for. Brilliant Yorker execution again here from Ben Sanderson, as we saw the other evening and throughout the course of the comp.
Potts gets inventive. An appeal from McManus. Run through for a leg by. Bapara feigns to throw at the non-strikers and realises that Sanderson wasn't at his stumps. Elects to hold the ball. Saves his team an overthrow. I think Jimmy Neesham, with that conversation he had with Ben Sanderson then at the end of that previous delivery, was, I wonder how often they would have shared the field in that 2022 season or netted with one another. It kind of feels like Neesham's facing a different bowler here. Shuffles, leg stump, goes down on the leg side towards long on. Just clears David Willey. Nicely played again. James Neesham moves to 38. Wasn't particularly well timed, I don't think, but got enough on it. Low full toss from Sanderson. Just blinked there as Neesham shuffled that back foot, didn't he?
I wish the one that came off of my toe yesterday went for 6 and I didn't get caught at long off.
Final ball of the over. It's 144 for 7. 7 deliveries left in the innings. Sanderson back of a length, and that will complete the 19th over. Steelbacks will sprint round here to get ready to start the remaining. They've got a minute left on the clock, so they've timed it well. They've caught it back. 144 to 7, 6 deliveries left. Neesham, the dangerous man, on strike. He's 38 off 30. Potts 1 off 2.
Yeah, it's a good option. The surprise bouncer, I think, is what it is in Ben Sanderson's repertoire, because obviously, but I think the way that he utilises that surprise bouncer, as it were, is really effective.
Well, Luke Proctor is going to round the innings out from the Lynn Wilson centre end. Potts is on strike, and he goes for a massive heave down the ground. It's going to fly down towards David Willey, makes his way off the boundary rope, and safe as houses, David Willey takes another catch in his Steelbacks career. tosses the ball back to Luke Proctor in celebration, and the Steelbacks have got 8. That's come down with snow on it.
Yeah, goodness me, that went extremely high. He's made that look really easy as well, David Willey. He had a lot of ground to make up, charged in from the rope, set himself under it nice and early, watched the ball all the way into his hands, and even then I think it might have just moved at the last minute, and he's managed to catch it reverse cut over his head, ended up on the floor. But brilliant catch nonetheless from the skipper. 10th catch of the season for him, I believe.
10 from 10 as well, I think, for David Willey. Trained so incredibly hard. Phil Rowe, my normal kind of co-commentator, would have coached David Willey for a time and just said, just wanted to have balls hit at him over and over and over again. And you can see then with the confidence that he was underneath that one as to hard work pays off. Nathan Souter comes in at number 10 for Durham, and crucially, James Neesham stays at the non-strikers end. 5 deliveries left in the innings, 144 for 8. Oh, it's out the back of the hands for Luke Proctor. Will trickle down to the leg side. Could have been 2, but I think wisely settling on just the single. It was in Matt Potts' arc, wasn't it, that delivery from Proctor? I think he had the right to go for it. It was a half volley. He'd have felt like he could have cleared the rope, but did just leave Neesham at the non-strikers end for another delivery. So he's only got 4 balls left now. Steelbacks and Dave Willey have now got the time. They can get their field right. What have we got? A deep cover, long off, long on, deep mid-wicket. And we're getting around to a deep square leg just in front of square on the leg side. Luke Proctor. Oh, well, good start to the over. That goes down the ground. That is massive. Jimmy Neesham out to the ground. That's gone over the Lynn Wilson centre. Fetch that out the road if you're walking past. What a shot that is. Neesham moves to 44. Wow. And 150 for Durham.
Some hit that. He's absolutely minced that one. What we were saying about the timing in his first sort of 20 balls, he's just making up for in this final over. And
is that the buzzword amongst professional cricketers in 2025 for 6 hitting? Is it minced? Yeah, I think you've used that 4 or 5 times in the piece so far.
Crunched, minced.
Crunched, minced. I like it.
Yeah, that was big from Neesham.
3 balls to go. Bit of momentum maybe for Durham at the back end here. What Neesham can do here is kind of take some momentum through to their bowling innings as well.
And I think from the position they were in, if they can get above 160, they would be pretty satisfied, I think. The way that the Steelbacks have bowled, they've obviously bowled really well, and it does look like a pitch that you've got to give yourself time on in order to be able to strike the ball cleanly. They've ran well, to be fair to them.
Yeah, long conversation here between Willey, Proctor and Bopara. I think it's long enough to allow Durham's 12th man to run out some almost like hand drying equipment for Jimmy Neesham.
Yeah, he probably had some chalk on there, was it?
Hey, you're going to be better qualified than me to.
I know some players use liquid chalk. One of my former teammates, current Durham women's player actually, Maddie Villiers, she used to use chalk to stop her hands from sweating when she was batting.
3 balls to go. Neesham on strike, goes again. Is that going to be cut off? Dave Willey's down there. Of course it's going to be cut off. They're going to come back for 2. It's a great throw in. A diving Souter makes his ground. Luke Proctor just couldn't gather it. Got to him on the half volley, didn't it? Did well to get enough of a hand on it to stop it running off for any overthrows. 2 to go then. This is where it's tricky, isn't it, with Luke Proctor? Before this, he's only bowled 386 deliveries in his T20 career with that gap in the middle since COVID and up to 2025. So maybe not the most experienced death bowler in the world, gets away with a low full toss. Neesham's going to look for 2. Souter's going to come back. He has to. Non-striker's end is wild from Willey. That's well tidied up by Lewis McManus, I think would be fair to say. If that's anybody other than Dave Willey, I reckon there might have been a stare back from the from the keeper after that throw. 1 to go. Neesham on his haunches. 155 for 8.
It just runs through all the way to McManus to give himself an extra bit of time. Umpire telling him to get a move on for this final delivery.
Last one then, Proctor to Neesham. Great Yorker. It's just going to be another 2, isn't it? I think they're going to take on Vasconcelos, and they will come back and complete the second. Sauter running to the danger end. 157 for 8 after 20 overs for Durham, having won the toss and elected to bat first here. And the Steelbacks will require 158 to win. 50 partnership as well for Neesham at the end. A brilliant 50 partnership. It's got to be added. That 6 down the ground at the end there was huge.
Yeah, he absolutely crunched it. I must admit, he's looking like he's absolutely goosed after that innings. Right on his haunches, as you said, leaning on his bat. I mean, yeah, he's a player that we knew that could obviously accelerate at the back end of the innings, and he managed to do that, executed it pretty well in the end, bringing up his half century. How crucial will that innings be from Neesham in the grand scheme of this game? You just wonder.
Played it brilliantly well, didn't he? We wondered, we questioned, we tried to second guess the mindset. He did bat time, he gave himself a chance and took that innings deep. Brings up the 50 off the final ball. So the Northamptonshire Steelbacks require 158 to win at 7.9 runs per over. Feels pretty 50-50, Joe.
It does. It does. I think it's definitely a competitive total. As I say, this pitch sort of going into its 4th innings now. Didn't look that fluent to bat on the other evening. Didn't look as fluent out there for Durham tonight either, but as we've said, Neesham gave himself a chance. One thing I would say is the last 5 head-to-heads between these two, the team batting second has come out victorious. So that's one positive plus to take into the second innings for the Steelbacks.
We'll take the positive. Joe, let's take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back for when the Steelbacks look to chase down 158, searching for their 7th win from 7 games in the 25 blast. Durham looking for their 3rd, and we'll be back for the run chase.
We have new accessible facilities located on the bottom floor of the indoor centre that are free for anyone needing to use. We can access through the family stand and the indoor centre via the fire exit. We've got male and female accessible toilets, changing places to gather along with you, and a multi-faith room for anyone who needs to use it. Huge thanks to our match sponsor, the Appetest Installations. Our match sponsor, Autos Energy, and our principal for the partners, Durham, Decorate, Cinch, Henry, ECL Steel Engineering. Thanks also to all our official partners of the club and members of our intensity as well. Thank you for your ongoing support of Northampton. Tonight is the first of 4 Friday night match fixtures this year. 3 more to come. Don't be sad on the action by something last has to offer. You will save money in buying tickets in advance at ncc.co.uk/climax. Still is winning, also have an unbeaten 100% start to their last season. And they're back here at the Watson Road this Sunday, the 15th of June, to take on the Derbyshire Falcons win in the Women's League 2 Vitality Blast. Entry is free this Sunday, so come on down and show your support for the Steelbacks. wonderful legends of soul against the county ground is Saturday the 12th of July. Join us as four stars from London's Team of the Musical, Sister Act, Motown the Musical Annual, all backed by a phenomenal West End band, celebrating the timeless classics from the legends of soul. You can book your tickets at countyground.co.uk. And the World Championship of Legends is back for a second season. A lot of focus last year. On the 22nd and 23rd of July, witness legends such as Amy Villiers, Alistair Cook, Yuvraj Singh, and many more. All teams in the field in sincerely T20. Book your spot at ccc.uk/WCA. Still chance to come once again. Forward. Looks for coffee is concerned. We want peckish, we want mixed up. In our photo, Rocky Tomato and Happy Days as well. And speaking of our photo, new for 2025 are improved photo with the written Forest family stage. And know what's going on there on match day. Face painting, the Max Castle, a speed song. As mentioned, Happy Days and Rocky Tomato there as well. So head around during the next up, here at the Western Road, on Sunday, free entries to Steelbacks Durham as they continue their vitality quest. Taking the Garbage Falcons. Next up for the men, a week tonight, we take on the Northampton Outlaws. Friday, the 20th of June, 6:30 is the match start. And remember, you save money when you buy your tickets in advance. Find out more at ccc.co.uk/climax. The second innings on its way. We welcome back to the middle of our umpires, Ben Debenham and Neil Bateson. Led by Captain Alex Lees, the fielding side for the second innings. Welcome back, Durham. batting for the Steelbacks. Wearing 27, sponsored by Durham, Ricardo Vasconcelos, and wearing 3, sponsored by
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the county ground in Northampton. If you're just joining us, firstly, unless you've been working, I don't know why you wouldn't have been here at 6:30. It's been very exciting Vitality Blast cricket. The players are making their way back out to the middle. The Steelbacks require 158 to win after a late innings 50 from Jimmy Nisha. My name's Dan Jadzovic, joined by Joe Gardner, the stream powered by Daffabet. And how do you see this going, Joe?
Well, I mean, I'm as optimistic as I'm sure many other Steelbacks fans around the country are, knowing that we're 6 from 6 in the tournament so far, confident that they can chase down 158, just under 8 and over required for the Steelbacks this evening. It's going to be Matty Potts, the England international, to open the bowling from the David Kay blend to Matt Bretsky. Slip in place, third man and a square leg. Pretty regulation field as to be expected. Durham will want early wickets, you would think. Steelbacks sure would have had conversations in the changing room in the innings break. Just give yourself a chance on this wicket, I think. And if you're in towards the back end, you can accelerate, much like Jimmy Neesham did. Here we go then, Potts into Bretsky. He's on the money, and it's well timed. Nice deceleration. The gap at third man gets himself single first ball.
Yeah, one of the big ticks in the right box for the Steelbacks is the fact they've got this left-hand, right-hand partnership and combination that can extend all the way down through the batting order as well. They're quite happy to be flexible with floating people up and down just to make sure that left and right-hand combination stays in place. You made a point on commentary that Durham, it's another left-hander in the middle. Steelbacks have got that for a bit of confusion.
Potts is in short, not timed by Vasconcelos, but wide of the fielder at mid-on, so comes through for a single. He's got pace, hasn't he, Matty Potts?
Certainly does. He'll have, I'm sure, a part to play in the Test series coming on later on this month, starting the 20th of June up at Headingley. Not in the first Test squad, is he? So sent back to Durham to play some Vitality Blast cricket. He hasn't played a great deal. It's last played here in 2021.
Steaming in, good length, inside edge from Bretsky. Just looking to defend that one back at the wicket. Gets an inside edge. Yeah, made his Blast debut back here, actually, against the Steelbacks in 2019. 2 for 11 off his 3 overs that day. Yeah, he's not played that much T20 cricket. Only 63 T20s, a 26-year-old, which isn't a great deal in how much T20 and franchise cricket there is available to these players all around the globe. Again, good length. Defended nice and late from Bretsky into the offside. Wanted a single, but wasn't on. Sauter came in there from cover to do the fielding. Good start from Matty Potts. There or thereabouts. Know these lengths to start off with. Yeah, I'm sure it's a welcome return for Durham fans, seeing Matty Potts back playing a role for them in the Blast. Charging in, Fuller this time, driven, not timed, but beats the dive of the fielder. Sauter's chasing after it, and it will be in vain. First boundary of the evening goes to Matt Bretsky. Yeah, just split the fielders there, didn't he? The dive from backward point. Sauter was chasing after it, but yeah, goes to the boundary for Bretsky.
Yeah, guided nicely, wasn't it, by Bretsky, who's just hopefully starting to find a bit of form for the Steelbacks. So it was a light start, wasn't it? But picked up 50 in the last game.
Final ball just check drives that nicely to extra cover. Yeah, he rehearses that shot. 6 off the first over then for the Steelbacks. Yeah, he was 2 off 8, 2 off 9, I think, against Bears the other day, and then cleared the ropes a couple of times, and that sort of kick-started his innings, and yeah, managed to get to his 50 in 35 balls. So not dissimilar from Jimmy Neesham in the first innings here this evening. But yeah, it's nice to see him hitting his straps. Had a brilliant year last year, didn't he? Leading run scorer. Kiwi international Zach Folkes then, from the Lynn Wilson Indoor Centre end, round the wicket, Vasconcelos. In back of the length, guided down towards third man. Not as quick as Matty Potts, but pretty accurate. I think I saw earlier on in the season, in a game against Lancs, his first 2 overs were maidens. 4 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 22. Now, I'm not sure what the stats would be on the history of bowlers bowling 2+ maidens in a T20 match.
Particularly with the start to the season that Lancashire had as well. They dominated, didn't they, at the start, those opening 3 or 4 games?
Yeah, Durham on the losing side of that one. Back of the length, back foot, cut nicely out towards the cover boundary from Bretsky. He's not going to miss out on that. Short and wide from Folkes.
Yeah, just a quiet shout of save 'em from Vasconcelos at the non-striker's end as it pierces through the offside. Just the crowd getting a little bit excited now.
Second boundary of the innings for Bretsky. Defended late into the offside. Easily comes through for a single. Does Bretsky. He was loud and quick with his calling. Just signal to each other that, yeah, both fine. Getting in both ends there.
Yeah, just starting to develop a bit of a nice partnership at the top of the order, aren't they? Ricardo Vasconcelos and Bretsky. This is his 21st game for the Steelbacks, and most of those would have been with Ricardo Vasconcelos at the top of the order.
Folkes in again. Just hit the stickers, hit the splice. Oh, Vasconcelos is back this time.
Been good form, Vasconcelos, though. 158 at 26.
Yeah,
Single.
striking just below 150 as well. Vasco. Half century against the Rapids, wasn't it? Earlier on in the piece. Folkes is in again round the wicket. Slapped to cover. Hit one of the old wickets, I think, before smashing into the body of Nathan Souter. Deflected off of him and they came through for single, but it was timed nicely from Vasconcelos. Just a bit of width on offer from Folkes. Yeah. Final ball of the second over coming up.
Struck really well, wasn't it? And so far from the 11 deliveries, you just say that timing seems to have improved slightly. Whether if this ball gets a little bit softer, it gets a bit harder. Harder to time, I'll say, because actually if you'd struggle to get softer and harder at the same time with a cricket ball, wouldn't you?
Yeah, what do they call that? An oxymoron or something?
I think so. Because certainly the final 5 letters are fairly relevant for myself most of the time.
Dot ball to finish the over from Folkes. Steelbacks 13 for no loss. Yeah, it certainly seems that the openers for the Steelbacks have timed the ball better at the beginning of this innings than the Durham openers did, as we just see that replay there for forward of point from Bretsky. Bit of a gimme, wasn't it? Say, loosen up from Folkes. Matt Potts is charging in again for his second over. Ramp and delicately played, executed very nicely from Vasconcelos. Just watches that all the way down to the fine leg boundary for 4.
Dismissive by Ricardo Vasconcelos. Shuffles inside it, uses the pace, flicks it off leg stump over down towards a vacant fine leg for 4. Still a little shrug of the shoulders from Vasconcelos, I think, when after he'd finished playing that shot, just like, yep, this is me.
What's Potts got in response to that? It goes Fuller drives up towards mid-on. I thought we were going to see the classic short ball there in response to that cheeky little ramp there from Vasconcelos.
Bowl short at Ricardo Vasconcelos at your peril. Good hooker, good puller, good cutter of a cricket ball. And he'll certainly take you on in the longest format of the game, let alone the shortest.
Short from Potts as expected. Goes out towards the mid-wicket boundary. Fielders are chasing, 2 of them, but just beat them to the rope. Vacant area. Second boundary for Vasconcelos. Start of his innings, moved into double figures. 11 for the left-hander. Yep, nicely worded there, Dan.
Teed up well, wasn't it? It's always nice when you kind of throw some words out there and a cricketer does what you think he might do. Gives you a little bit of a backup that you might know what you're talking about.
Pots in again, and ramped again, this time finer from Vasconcelos. 3rd boundary in the over. Just helps it on his way using the pace of Matty Potts, the England international. No bother for Steelbacks opener Ricardo Vasconcelos. 3 boundaries in the over.
That conversation there between Bretsky and Vasconcelos looked like Bretsky was good over. You've got your 3 boundaries. You don't need to do anything more. And Vasconcelos has looked over his shoulder at what was a vacant fine leg and gone, if it's there, I'm going to go again. And they have plugged that gap. Ben Range dropped down to fine leg.
Yeah, 3rd man's come up into the ring, and Matty Potts, change of angle for him. He's coming round the wicket to Vasconcelos now. Driven out towards cover, where Nathan Sauter does the fielding. So dot ball, 1 ball to come.
He's been picked on a bit here, isn't he, Nathan Sauter? In these opening 3 overs, the ball's just followed him. Had that long chase down to the boundary in that opening over. Bit of a token dive at the end, wasn't it? But since then, it's been peppered on the circle in the offside.
So the extra cover there, really attacking the final ball. Potts round the wicket, drives up towards Graham Clark there. At that extra cover, squeeze in, dot ball to finish the over, but productive one nonetheless for the Steelbacks. 3 fours in the over for Vasconcelos, takes them up to 25 off the first 3 overs.
Yeah, ahead of the rate, ahead of where Durham were at the same stage as well. Durham had 16 runs on the board for no loss after 3 overs. So the Steelbacks 9 in front. It was at the second half of that power play that Durham just lost a couple of wickets, though, wasn't it? That just stunted their aggression in the power play.
We see a change in to the attack comes Ben Rain, replacing Zach Folkes from this Lynn Wilson indoor centre end. Just defended out into the offside from Bretsky. In between the 2 fielders, Nathan Sauter and Matty Potts, come through for a single relatively comfortably. Yeah, Ben Rain, leading wicket taker for Durham in the last year. He's a pretty steady operator in this format. A good scalp for them from Leicestershire a few years ago now. 74 wickets in his last career for Durham. Round the wicket to Vasconcelos. Slower ball driven up towards mid-on. No run. Jimmy Neesham there does the fielding. Yeah, he's already taken a 5 as well this year, hasn't he, Ben Rain?
Yeah,
Against Leicestershire, his former team, as mentioned.
Rare in this format, aren't they?
Witts has a swing and a miss from Vasconcelos. No footwork whatsoever. He swings, tries to slap it through the offside. Doesn't lay bat on it. Feels like he's probably missed out there with that one, Vasconcelos.
Quite a noticeable change in field placement, Joe, as well. Durham electing to have sweepers out on either side of the boundary during the power play. Steelbacks targeted behind square for a lot of it.
And behind square goes Vasconcelos for another boundary. Helps it on its way behind. Just a sort of slog sweep, yeah. Behind square, gets inside the line. It was down the leg side, so it was a freebie for Vasconcelos, and he's not going to miss out on that player of his quality. But yeah, I don't mind it that much for someone of Ben Rain. Obviously, not that quick, not as express pace-wise in terms of comparison to Potts and Folkes. Slaps, and this will be 4 as well for Vasconcelos through the offside this time, taking advantage of the width on offer again there from Rain. Beats the sweeper on the offside, as Dan mentioned, 1 on each side, and it's timing the ball nicely. Vasconcelos, 5th boundary of his innings. Final ball of this 4th over coming up then. Vasconcelos 23 off 13, brilliant start. And gets him, nicks it behind. Bit of a soft dismissal that for Ricardo. He has to go for 23 from 15 deliveries. So Ben Rain ends up with the scalp. Wasn't his best over, but he comes out on top in getting the wicket of the left-handed Ricardo Vasconcelos. Just bowled it into a better length, bit straighter. Just caught on the crease, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think on reflection of the replay there, I think he's just tried to get a bit cute there and try and run it down past Ollie Robinson and pick up another 4. I think the ball was probably there, or the length was there at least. It just tracked him back a little touch, didn't it? Got a bit tight on him and couldn't do anything but edge it through to Ollie Robinson. 4 overs have been complete in the innings. It's 34 for 1. Vasconcelos goes for 23 off 15. And out comes the captain, David Willey, the left-hander. Left-hand, right-hand combination continuing here for the Steelbacks. It will be an on-striker's end, though. Will be a change of bowling from the David Capel end as well. Jimmy Neesham, the man with 50 to his name for Durham, replaces Matty Potts. Potts 2 overs, none for 18 from the David Capel end. So the New Zealand international all-rounder into the attack with Bretsky on strike. That one, maybe a touch early on that, Matt Bretsky. He just holds in the surface. Jimmy Neesham, he will have learned as much as anybody from the time that he spent out there in the middle in that innings. At the back end, he got beaten, didn't he, early on consistently by Justin Broad in particular. So I'm sure that will help his bowling.
Yeah, he'll be well aware of the effective length to bowl out on that deck.
Here's Neesham, then Bretsky on 11. Advances. Neesham, clever, wily, experienced. Sees him advance and takes all the pace off of it into the surface. Matt Bretsky can do nothing but drop it safely into the leg side.
He's been pretty consistent with the ball as well this year for Durham. As we mentioned, pretty dynamic cricketer. He's going to contribute in all facets, whether that's with bat, ball, or in the field, Jimmy Neesham.
Yeah, a real stalwart of T20 cricket. Pace on this time, that's up, it's down the ground by Matt Bretsky. It's gone all the way, has it? Has gone all the way, just clearing the rope down in front of the Curo Wealth here at Wantage Road. I'll pause for a second because it was another one of those that just lost sight of it. Just over the boundary rope. Call it 4 foot over. All the way for 6. Bretsky moves to 17 and the score up to 40.
Yeah, he committed to that stroke, didn't he? Really taking advantage of the power play and only having 2 out and being square of the wicket. 2 up inside. Straight, put his hands through it. 6 runs. Lovely
Top of the
stuff.
bounce, wasn't it? Neesham again, slower ball this time, width on offer. That's cut away. That's 4. That's gone like an absolute tracer across the carpet here at Wantage Road. Score moves on to 44, and that is as good of a shot as you're going to see all day. How beautifully timed was that?
as an absolute missile, much like his arm when fielding in the deep. It was width on offer from Neesham, so he could throw his hands through it. He just waited for it to come. Played it nice and late.
Bretsky on 21. Neesham again, width on offer, takes the single this time. There is the fielder down there that's just completed that. And he can't have been more than about 10 yards away from that previous delivery that raced across the boundary rope. So fast it travelled across. He didn't even move. Dave Willey then on strike for the final ball of Neesham's first over. Durham just taking a bit of extra time here to get the field right. Again, there's another advantage for Northamptonshire with the opposition. That left-hand, right-hand combination. The field will constantly be changing as the batters rotate the strike. First ball for David Willey then. Into the pads, gets it just past Ben Rain. We'll look for a couple and completes a comfortable 2. 5 overs bowled in the run chase. The score is 47 for 1. Bretsky on 22, Dave Willey on 2.
Yeah, brilliant over. 13 from it for the Steelbacks. One over left in the power play as well. See if they can maximise. Just having those 2 fielders outside the circle. Get that rate as close to, required rate as close to 7 and over as they can. I'm sure they'll feel a little bit more comfortable, the pair of them.
Yeah, it's going to be the returning Zach Folks from the Lynn Wilson Centre. And his first over went for 7. The most economical of the Durham bowlers in this power play so far. Potts going at 9s, Rain at 9s. Neesham's first, they're going for 13. Bretsky back on strike. Pace on, pulled away, short ball. That's flown all the way for 6 down to the heavy sweep. That's a frozen rope 6 by Matt Bretsky. Brings up the 50. South African moves to 28. That's flat, isn't it?
Smeared.
Not minced.
Off the blade. I was thinking about mince and I thought, no, I'm going to use an alternative adjective.
Test out the thesaurus. Brings up the 50. Run rate now over 10s. Folks, can he respond? Bretsky, as we've seen through the course of his Steelbacks career, happy to take the boundary and then nonchalantly drops it into the offside for a single. Puts the skipper back on strike.
Yeah, it's been a lovely start here from Bretsky. Even when he hasn't hit his boundaries, he's been really deliberate and really late in his timing into the offside and able to just decelerate the blade and come through for a single.
Yeah, it's
been a good 16 balls for him so far.
It has, hasn't it? David Willey then, 2 off 1 so far. Gives a little shuffle down and goes through the offside. Doesn't get all of it, but runs out square of the wicket for a single. Just got a little bit darker again, hasn't it? Clouds are getting pretty thick here at the county grounds. There are 2 groundsmen, 2 members of Craig Harvey's team just sat down by the tractor just off the field of play, which is a sign of preparation, isn't it? Hopefully we don't get weather affected. Hopefully that isn't the case. I can't work out. Sometimes really difficult to tell here, isn't it? Whether there is a bit of moisture in the air or not. But Folks to Bretsky defended.
I was just thinking, is there a bit of drizzle coming down? I think there might
like
be.
It, doesn't it? I've been thinking it for about the last couple of overs. I've not really been confident enough to actually say. And commentary becomes quite difficult when you go and stick your head out the window, doesn't it? But 2 balls left of Folks's second over. Been a good comeback for the New Zealander, having been hit for 6 off the first ball of the over. That man Bretsky is back on strike though. That one guided through the offside. Can't get it past the man at short third. Be another single. As a general rule though, the umpires will do their absolute utmost to keep players out on the field in this particular format of cricket. So it's going to have to get pretty heavy for the umpires to make that decision. I might have to go and stick my head out the window in a minute just to double check because I feel like I might be losing the plot, Joe. Final ball of the power play then, 56 for 1. Folks into bowl. Willie goes for a huge heave down towards the leg side to end the power play. Doesn't get anywhere near it. 56 for 1 after 6 then.
Properly clears the front leg here, does Dave Willie. He's thrown the absolute kitchen sink, tried to launch that out towards the scoreboard. Doesn't get anywhere near it, but 56 for 1 at the end of the power play. Same stage. Durham were 43 for 2, so Steelbacks ahead, somewhat, you would say.
Yeah, been a good start, isn't it? Durham get a bit of extra protection now, though. 3 extra fielders can go outside of that 30-yard circle, and unsurprisingly, that decision when defending is to push those out straight away. So long on, long off. Deep cover, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square are the 5 fielders outside of that 30-yard circle. Ben Rain into the attack from the David Capel end. Bretsky on strike, and Rain starts with a pace-off delivery. Colin Ackerman doing the fielding there, who's quite a long way off that 30-yard circle. What have you done, Joe?
I just dropped the mouse.
Oh, no. Could have been worse. Bretsky on 30. Pace on. Look for a single. Well fielded, Ben Rain. Has a shy at the stumps of Matt Bretsky. Well backed up by Colin Ackerman as indication of how wide that attempt was. But a good bit of athleticism from the Durham all-rounder.
Yeah, knowing that got all that vacant area, no mid-wicket in on the leg side. So anything tucked into the leg side that's slightly straight, Ben Rain's got to be there to try and sweep it up.
Yeah, 30 off 20. Pace on. Oh, it's appeal for everything, I think. There was an LBW appeal, a caught behind appeal, and then an appeal for a stumping / run out by Ollie Robinson. It's all happening. Rain wanted the LBW. I think Robinson thought Bretsky had nicked it. Great work by Robinson to tidy it up. Bretsky back in his ground. What do you think they were? Hey, have an appeal for everything. Why not?
Yeah, Rain. It seemed like Rain was appealing for an LB, but then it was like Robinson was appealing for it. But
he dropped it.
He dropped it, and then it was like he was appealing before he'd actually caught it, and then.
That's a great shot by Matt Bretsky. How on earth has he managed to maneuver that down to the leg side? It was a slower ball, pace off by Rain, as it has been consistently through this over, and it's sat up for Bretsky, and he's almost just short-arm jabbed it through mid-wicket for 4. He split the 2 fielders down there perfectly. Moves to 34 off 22.
And I mean, if there was a mid-wicket in, he's not scoring, he's not getting 4 there, because mid-wicket's stopping that every day of the week.
Yeah, it's a shot of a man that you wouldn't have thought just survived an LBW caught behind and run out shout. Takes the single, as has become iconic for Matt Bretsky. 62 for 1 after 7. Bretsky on 35. Oh no, we got 1 extra. Have we got 1 extra? We have. We've got 1 more. 6.5. 61 for 1. David Willie on strike. He's 3 off 3. Pretty much a mirror image field for the left-hander. So the plan won't change for Ben Rain. Willie has got the short offside, though. Will be carved out to deep cover for a single, despite the best efforts from the crowd at Northamptonshire to put the Durham fielder off. It is a single to end the over. And after 7, as I said, it is 62 for 1.
Yeah, they'll be well oiled down there by the food and beverage outlets, giving the ex-Steelback Jimmy Neesham a bit of chirp potentially out on that boundary. And you can just see them there on the stream in good spirits down there, as you can hear on our effects mic as well from around the ground. Now,
time to panic. Steelbacks fans, as Nathan Souter's been tossed the ball by Alex Lees. Give us some numbers, Joe. How's Nathan Souter's career lined up against the Northamptonshire Steelbacks?
I'll just leave the suspense until after the first delivery, Dan.
The Durham wrist spinner into the attack. Willie takes the single down the ground.
So, by my calculations, Nathan Souttar's bowled 14 overs against the Steelbacks, 13 wickets for 58 runs. You've got 13 wickets, an average of 4.46, going at 4.14 an over, including a career best 5 for 15. Here in 2023, Durham won by 10 wickets.
Phenomenal statistics for Nathan Souttar. Happy hunting grounds. Dave Willey's going to look for 2. I don't think he's going to take on Will Rhodes. He does well off the boundary. Settle on just the single. Good start to the over for Souttar. Just the 2 singles coming off the opening 2 deliveries. That one width on offer. And the single taken off the third. Here's a question for you. If you came up against an opposition player with such a matchup, would you treat them any differently?
No, it's in the past, isn't it? You just got to play the ball as you see it. And I think that's when you get into trouble if you look into the stats, like definitely from a playing perspective.
Bretsky on 36. Tries to create a bit of room through the offside. Souttar's just taken some pace off that, giving it a bit of extra flight.
Obviously, you can respect that someone has a good record or they're a very effective bowler or they're in really good form. But sometimes you just have to play the ball and not the bowler at times, because sometimes they might bowl you a half volley or a half tracker. And if you don't take advantage of it because you're like, oh, they could get me out because they're in really good form or they've got a really good record.
Yeah, it's a good point. Bretsky's going to look for a couple. And the settle on just the one as Ackerman comes off the boundary edge to keep that down to just a single. So 4 runs off the first over for Nathan Souttar. I think what he does to make himself so dangerous, it's real subtle changes of pace, isn't it, for Souttar? Kind of saw a bit of that during that over. It's not exactly a case of leg spinner, googly, top spinner, flipper. It's kind of, no, I'll just flight this one up a little bit more. The next one's going to be a bit quicker. You've got to stay on your toes for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing with variation. Sometimes it is as simple as that, just going up and down in your flight, in your pace or the flight, particularly as a spinner. Also, one thing I will say about respecting bowlers and whatnot, it actually works the other way as well. If there's someone that you really think you can take down and you don't really rate in an opposition team, getting too carried away and trying to hit them for boundaries all the time.
Nisham continues, pulled away by Bretsky. That one won't find the gap. Little bit of a fumble down, but just keeps it down to a single. We've seen plenty of that on the Saturday afternoons around the UK, haven't we, with teammates and oppositions getting a little bit carried away at times.
And that's it, and almost not acknowledging the fact that, okay, well, you might not rate them, but they're still able to bowl a good delivery to you, and you shouldn't get too carried away in that regard. I mean, I know I'm probably guilty of that in the past.
I think we've all been guilty of that at one time in our life, regardless of the standard or the occasion that you've been playing at. 67 for 1 after 8.1. Nisham from the David Capel end. Willie advances, takes one hand off the bat and most lazily swings through on that one. He's 6 off 7. Just looks like he's struggling a little bit with the timing of the surface here. This over was, well, this was big for Durham. This was the over that Lloyd Pope bowled that went for 15. Took Durham's score up to 75 for 4 at the time. Didn't really add a great deal of momentum to the innings, but just worth noting that this is kind of where they added their value. Well bowled, Jimmy Nisham. Slower ball dug out by Willie for a single.
Yeah, the last couple of overs have been pretty effective for Durham. Just the 10 runs from it and 5 dots in there. No need to panic for the Steelbacks because they're, well, feels like they're ahead of the game at this point. Yeah, as you say, the momentum that was injected from Durham at the equivalent stage in this innings was shortly diminished when Justin Broad was able to dismiss Ben Rain.
Yeah, width on offer. Powerfully struck through the offside. Fielder does well. Covers good ground. keeps it down to just a single. Bretsky now 39 off 29. Certainly feels like a surface that you run the risk of potentially getting frustrated on if you're not quite finding the timing that you'd hope for. But there will be a lot of experience there for Dave Willey to know that it will get easier the longer that you spend out there, as proven by the man with ball in hand. 69 for 1 off 8.4. Willey on 7. That one muscled through the offside. There's no better way to describe that than muscled, I don't think, by David Willey. A strong bottom hand and a nice fade on it down to the deep cover boundary for 4.
Yeah, proper fade on that. If you're on the golf course as a left-hander, no stopping that.
No, I think if you hit a shot like that on a golf course, you're probably going off to pick it out a pond or out the bushes somewhere. You tend to try and
hit my golf, yeah.
Hit straight, don't you, on a golf course? Willey now 11. Gives himself a little bit of room, tries to run it down to deep third for a single. 73 for 1 after 9.
Yeah, helpful little boundary there for David Willey. Looks like it's going to be Callum Parkinson to the attack for the first time, replacing Nathan Sauter, left arm orthodox. Similar to Ben Rain, and Colin Ackerman, in fact, made the move up to Durham from Steelbacks rivals Leicestershire Foxes. Just the 4 wickets for Parkinson so far in Durham's 4 games this year. Around the wicket, Bretsky, full, low full toss, bunted down towards long off, where Zach Folkes has the fielding. Bretsky moves on to 40. I just have a chuckle there with that return throw that came in a little bit wild. Parkinson over the wicket to left-handed Willey. Slog sweeps, doesn't get it, goes straight to Jimmy Neesham. Throws in his return to Robinson. A bit tidier this time. A couple of singles to start the over then. Deep cover, long on, long off, deep square in mid-wicket. Bretsky, you can hear him visibly, audibly frustrated through the effects mic. Just comes off the toe of the bat, gets a single up towards long off. Feels like he may have missed out there, just rehearsing his swing.
I think Parkinson saw him come in there. Just bowled it a bit flatter.
Flighted, offside, out towards the man in the deep, caught by Colin Ackerman. Was width from Callum Parkinson, and David Willey went after it, but picked out his fielder there at deep extra cover in Colin Ackerman. So the skipper has to go for 12. 76 for 2 Steelbacks in the 10th over.
Yeah, got nowhere near the middle there, did he? Just skewed it away. And here's an indication of this desire to keep the left-hand, right-hand combination going through the middle order for the Steelbacks. It's Safe Sabe coming out at number 4. It's batted as low as 6 so far in the 2025 blast. Obviously, you've got Justin Broad in the sheds there, and he's got 250s to his name so far, and a phenomenal player of spin as well. It must have been tempting with Sauter and Parkinson to have sent Broad out there.
Yeah, for sure. But equally, I think Safe likes the matchup against spin as well, doesn't he? And Broad, yes, he's in good nick, good touch, played the spin really well the other evening. But yeah, just keen to keep that left-right hand combo going, sending out Safe Sabe.
Not to say that Safe Sabe's a bad player of spin, but Justin Broad has excelled so far in the 25 Vitality Blast.
Yeah, just into the pitch there from Safe, who's able to just tuck it off his hip, come through for single. Throw from Salter just knocks Parkinson off his feet, just tumbles onto his back. Final delivery of his first over coming up. Just a 4 from it so far. And that wicket of David Willey. Tidy start for the left-arm orthodox bowler. And nicely flighted, well fielded from Alex Lees. There at extra cover. Stops the single up to long off. So dot balls finish the over. Just a 4 from it for Parkinson. Tidy start for him. Steelback 77 for 2 at the halfway stage. So 81 is the runs required with 8 wickets in hand at the halfway stage. Now Ben Rain comes back.
Same stage. Durham had 77 runs on the board as well. They had lost 5 wickets at that time, though. So despite those final 4 overs, which 11, 11, 9, 13 runs added, they had that kind of middle over or middle innings period, didn't they? That just didn't really go anywhere for them. That would be the moment that, or the time that the Steelbacks can look to get themselves ahead of that rate.
Ben Rain around the wicket to safe save. He just guides this one wide of third man. Interested in 2, but just be the 1. Callum Parkinson throws in his return and clutches at his left-hand side. I think he's all right, but a little bit of stiffness in his QL muscle potentially.
He took an uncomfortable tumble, didn't he, during that bowling over? But that's had any knock-on effect.
Over the wicket for Ben Rain into Bretsky, who just defends that nice and late into the offside. No run. Ben Rain, leading wicket taker last year. Current leading wicket taker for Durham. He's already picked up that wicket of Vasconcelos. Again, defended back up the pitch. Not leaving the stumps. Ben Rain here. Sends the fielder back onto long on boundary. So he's got 4 out, leg side, and a deep cover. Ben Rain. Oh, he's come off his hip, I think. Bretsky beat him on the inside, come through for a leg bite. Just look like that and get back off the pitch. Hit his hip. Ran down to third man, come through for a leg bite.
He's got a really, really handy off cutter, hasn't he, Ben Rain? Whether that was just one that just gripped a bit into the surface. I'm quite fascinated to see whether Durham bowl their full complement of Parkinson and Salter.
Safe attempts the ramp and he gets it, and it will go 1 bounce 4. Pretty much dead straight, sort of backstop region over the top of keeper Robinson. Gets enough of it. And we know he's a player that likes to execute his boundary options square of the wicket. Safe save, first boundary for him.
Yeah,
Moves
just
on to 6.
pulls his head out of it right at the last second, doesn't he? Almost in a way that looks like it generates pace on the ball. Superb shot by Safe Save. A genuine 360 cricketer.
Triggers deep in his crease and Rain goes full. Just knocks it up to long on for a single. So 7 off of the 11th over. Steelbacks 84 for 2. So 1 boundary in there. First for Safe Save.
It's tense, isn't it? 74 off 54. The Steelbacks, the thing they've got that's a massive advantage and possibly doesn't even need saying is wickets in hands. At the same stage, Durham had lost 5. Steelbacks just 2 down. Bretsky 41, Zabe on 7. They bat a long way down as well. Luke Proctor carded at 8, Sanderson at 9.
Parkinson in for his second over. Swept to the man at 45. No single taken. Salter again. Absolute magnet in the field tonight. Ball's not leaving him alone. Uses his feet this time, safe, over the top of extra cover. Rocket off the bat. Extra cover was interested, dived one-handed. It would have been an unbelievable grab. Not sure how close Graham Clark was to that. Launched off the bat of safe save over extra cover. Lovely use of the feet. Moves into double figures. 11 for the left-hander. Sweep hard in front of square. And behind square. Looked like it had gone in front of square, and just with the angle of it, went out to the man just backward of. Swept hard with intent from safe save.
Be a cry of spin somewhere, won't there, as the ball's just gripped into the surface and made its way down to the boundary fielder.
Slower from Parkinson, uses his feet. Is there a catch? Yes, well taken from Zach Folkes at long off. Just changed his pace slightly there, did Parkinson. It was well bowled. Bretsky used his feet trying to launch him into the car park. But it was taken probably 10, 15 metres inside the rope there from Folkes running in from long off boundary. Well taken in the end. Bretsky has to go. 41 for him, falling short of back-to-back half centuries for the opener. Brings out Justin Broad, Dan's man.
Stylish shot, wasn't it, from Bretsky? Just didn't get anywhere near enough of it. And you just wonder, it's a funny game, this sport. You just wonder whether that shot was needed at that particular moment by Matt Bretsky, playing against the spin. Dismissed for 41 off 36 deliveries. But yeah, Justin Broad, 250s so far this season, 149 runs at 30s, 67 against Yorkshire, 60 against Warwickshire as well. A very efficient sweeper, reverse sweeper of the cricket ball. Whether that's a matchup that Durham would have identified. Will they go back to the seamers, or will they go with spin against Justin Broad and safe save?
Parkinson comes into Zabe, just trying to work that into the leg side. Big appeal for LBW. Umpire not interested. The closes out the over with a dot. You can see Parkinson. He's thinking he was in with a good shout there. Not sure if the umpire thought he might have nicked it onto his pad or height.
Be worth another look, I think, if we can get it. Safe's gone back, isn't he, into his crease. And Parkinson, with that change of pace, has just fired it through a bit flatter. Parkinson couldn't believe the umpire shook his head. Durham are going to continue with seam against Justin Broad. It's going to be, is it Zach Folkes? Is it, yeah, from the David Capel end? So 2 overs for the New Zealand international so far in this innings. They've gone for 16 runs without taking a wicket. Broad on strike. He's 1 off 1. And a bit of a squeeze on here for Durham as well. 5 inside the circle. Alex Lees trying to keep Justin Broad on strike. Although, as I've made quite an observant point, that fielder off that first ball of the over has now just drifted down to the deep mid-wicket boundary. So an attempted squeeze for 1 delivery. Folkes to Broad. Oh, and it's gone. Is there not a nick on there? Wow. I mean, that sounded very woody through the effects, Mike. Broad is giving the impression of a man that he's got nowhere near that. I thought he'd... Or did it just brush the top of the pads? Sounded good.
Yeah, it did. It sounded very woody on that effects mic, as you say, but bowler and keeper were shortly disinterested after their initial excitement, realising that it must have come off, yeah, the top of his pad.
68 off 46 for the Steelbacks. 7 wickets in hand. That's going to be a really healthy edge that time. Is it going to beat the fielder? Oh, it's a fantastic effort. Can't keep it inside the rope, Ben Rain. And it does go for 4, and Justin Broad has nicked that one. The old slip drive. Doesn't matter where they come. It's just 4 in the book.
Yeah, it was a brilliant attempt from Ben Rain to pull that in from the boundary, but it had some pace on it. Genuine edge from Justin Broad, a bit like we saw in the Durham innings as well. Something in this pitch.
Certainly something to keep the seamers interested. Nice looking shot by Justin Broad. They're going to take on the fielder at mid-off, and that is a fantastically run single. Hit straight at mid-off. Justin Broad running straight away.
Almost ran straight through the back of Zach Folks.
Yeah, there was that moment at Lord's, wasn't there, on day 2? Pat Cummins appealing for the LBW of Carl Verena. Carl Verena not seeing Pat Cummins and just running straight through the back of him. Still had the presence of mind, though, to send it upstairs for the LBW and pick up the wicket of South Africa's Test wicket keeper. Going to be a good day of Test cricket tomorrow if you're a South African cricket fan, I think, at Lord's. Back here, though, Zabe, 12 off 8. That one maybe just keeping a touch low. Feed to the keeper, Robinson.
Yeah, seeing the variable bounce a little bit more from this end now. It was Justin Broad bowling from the opposite end earlier that we saw. A little bit of variable bounce, but looks like it's much the same. Bowling from David Capeland as well now. Zach Folks.
Change of angle as well for the final ball of the over. Coming around the wicket. Save. Long side of the ground is the leg side for the left-hander. It's short. It's pulled away. Just makes its way to the edge of the 30-yard circle for a single. So the end of the 13th over, then 97, 96 for 3, 62 runs required from 42 balls remaining. Durham will feel that they've got a little bit of a sniff now. They've got 2 relatively new batters in the middle with Broad and Zabe.
Yeah, that required rate just hovering at 8.9. And in chases, you often look at the DLS, sort of give you a little bit of an inkling as to where teams are at. And you see DLS on 95 at the moment, Steelbacks 96.
Souter back into the attack. Durham's leg spinner. It's a reverse sweep from Zabe and gone. Umpire raises the finger. Safe Zabe throws his head back in disappointment. And the man that's had the Steelbacks' number for a long part of his career picks up another wicket. And Safe Save, the left-hander, has to go this time for 13 off 11, LBW to Nathan Souter.
I'd like to have a look back at this just to see where it pitches. See Souter staying over the wicket to the left-handed Zabe. So needs to pitch in line, not outside leg stump, which is so often the case. Until we see a replay, can't be sure. Safe Save's disappointed regardless.
Yeah, it went very fine, didn't it? Down to the fine leg boundary. Missed reverse sweep by Safe Save. Brings Ravi Bapara into the middle, batting at number 6 for the Steelbacks. So 2 right-handers in the middle for the first time for the home side. Souter opens his account. 1 for 4 off 7 deliveries. Oh, it's floated back to the bowler. Broad is left scrambling for his grounds. Everybody's playing this in quite good spirits here, aren't they? There's a lot of smiles, a lot of laughing, a lot of joking. 96 for 4. 62 required from 40. That is the equation for the Steelbacks. Looking for their 7th win of the campaign. As Para gets off the mark. Runs the first one pretty hard. Looking for the second, but Durham fielder does well to come off the boundary rope to keep it down to just the single. Broad, 6 off 5. An important matchup for the context of the game. Tries to work it past Alex Lees at short mid-wicket. Can't do so. Bit of a trump card for Durham here. Nathan Souter, Misley with ball in hand, and that run rate is just going to keep growing for the Steelbacks. Take a quick single through to Alex Lees that time around. End of this over, Nathan Souter will still have 12 deliveries left. With the success that he's had in the opening 11, I dare say Alex Lees has got him penciled in from the Lynn Wilson centre end for his final 2 overs. And finishes with a dot ball. A fantastic over for Nathan Souter. Picked up the big wicket, a safe save. 98 for 4 after 14. And the crowd here at Wantage Road was boisterous at the start of the innings. You still hear the murmur through the effects mic, but just starting to get a little bit nervy.
Yeah, I've just rewatched that LBW from Nathan Souter to dismiss safe save. Definitely pitched in line. Turned slightly. Still had a little bit of a way to travel, so I guess the only question mark would have been height, but safe save got pretty low in attempting that reverse sweep. So it's a fair shout.
Change of ends for Parkinson. From the David Capel end, Broad drops it into the leg side and will settle on just a single. Good arm in from Jimmy Neesham. Up to 99. Durham in front at the same stage. They had 102 for 5 on the board at the start of the 15th over. So 4 runs in front of the Steelbacks as it stands. Nicely played by Ravi Bopara. Lewis McManus carded next. Luke Proctor carded at number 8 as well, as Ravi Bopara brings up the 100 for the Steelbacks off the second ball of the 15th over. 58 to win from 34. Broad goes down the ground. Is it going to carry? Oh, just falls short. Durham fielder advancing in off the boundary rope.
Just a little 9-9 into the green, wasn't it?
Yeah, it turns out to be quite well timed by Justin Broad. Well weighted, finished pin high. Bopara advances, shuffles down the crease. Checks his shot, takes a single down to long on. Parkinson himself at the end of this over will have a further one to bowl. So there's potential 3 overs of spin here remaining for Durham and for the Steelbacks to contend with. That one, again, a bit of a change of pace. They're going to look for a couple here. Broad is quick. He's going to come to the danger end, and Bopara turns him down. Bopara was instrumental in that run chase here against Leicestershire in that double-header Sunday. So he won't blink, will he, Ravi Bopara?
Bags of experience. Bopara.
Takes the single into the offside. 54 from 30. 5 overs to go, Joe. You getting nervous yet? Who's in front?
Yeah, I think I am a little bit nervous, you know. Again, I'll just refer back to that Duckworth-Lewis pass score at the end of the 15th over, which sits at 112 and Steelbacks 104. So just slightly behind, as you alluded to earlier in that over. But if Bopara's still there at the end and the Steelbacks win this game, that is what the thought that's going through my head. So it's just how they negotiate these next couple of overs.
Yeah, we admire the positivity. It's a drag down from Souter. It's rare. Gets away with it. Fielded down at deep backward square. Didn't have far to move. Ravi Bopara had hit that so well. If he got it just a fraction finer, it would have been 4. Takes the single, though. Broad 9 off 10. Goes for the reverse sweep. Can he get it past the man? He can't. Pressure building on the Steelbacks. Interesting, isn't it, how captains see it differently. Spin to win here for Durham. David Willey saw 1 over from Lloyd Pope and thought that was enough. I don't want to see any more. Had 3 spare from Pope, 4 from Safe Save if he wanted it, and elected to go seam all the way through. Again, dragging that length back, but changing the pace. Broad looking for 2. Don't think there was ever 2 on that one, though. 52 from 27.
Yeah, that run rate nearly at To a ball now.
Will we hear the crowd roar at Wantage Road? Can these two find the boundary rope? They're going to look for two this time. Again, I don't think they're going to take it. Settle on just a single. "19 deliveries, if my maths are right, since the last boundary in this innings." Pressure building on the home side. Undefeated so far in the Blast. Sweep shot. Failed sweep shot by Justin Broad. Final ball of the 16th. 107 for 4. Feels like they need a boundary. I think they're going to get one. It's not the most stylish shot that Justin Broad's ever going to play in his life, but he's punched it back over Nathan Souter's head for 4, as straight as you like. Dissects the two fielders on the boundary rope. And my word, did the Steelbacks need that. 111 for 4 off 16.
Yeah, flat batted down the ground from Broad. A little bit of relief. Released and felt around the ground here at Wantage Road, as Dan mentioned. Yeah. South will be disappointed that the last ball of his third over went for 4. But we're going to have Seam back into the attack. So it's going to be Matty Potts to bowl the 17th from the Lynn Wilson, from the David Cave blend.
Interesting.
Got deep square, deep mid-wicket, long on, long off.
Don't know if I would have done that, Joe.
Would have gone Parkinson again.
I think so, yeah.
Keep the pressure on. Get that rate as high as you can.
2 for 16 off 3.
It'll be interesting to see what over he then does bowl. Because you'd think Souter will finish his spell from the other end. Anyway, Matty Potts is in to Bapara, goes full. Low full toss. Goes for the attempted Yorker, and it's hit up towards long off. And I've kicked the mouse again. 112 for 4. Steelback. So 46 of 23. So 2 a ball required. 12 and over. There's no mid-wicket in the ring, so the gap between the deep mid-wicket on the boundary and long on is massive. And that's probably the shortest pocket on the ground, where Bretsky hit 4 earlier in the innings. Full, pushed out towards that fielder at mid-wicket, which is Jimmy Neesham. No, yes, it is Jimmy Neesham.
Yeah, there's a big gap there, isn't there? There's a big gap over cover as well, if Ravi Bapara can find it. I don't think Bapara is going to be the type of player to ramp or certainly not reverse sweep, but I don't think the ramp's coming. And it's short straight as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he goes full, hits it over extra cover, and that'll be 4 for Bapara. Puts that away, takes himself into double figures. As Dan mentioned, big gap. He clears a 30-yard circle. Potts just going for the Yorker there, missed Fuller. So it was a low full toss. Bapara was equal to it. Again, goes full. Steered towards Graham Clark, who dives and tumbles at backward point. Saves 4, in essence, with that. It wasn't that far away from him, but had he not have stopped that, it was definitely going for 4 for Bapara.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at the field. The two fielders at deep mid-wicket and deep backward square are relatively close together in the context of the other 3 boundary rinders. I know they'll be there for that protection of the short ball, won't they? But
in comes Potts again, full. And it beats Graham Clark this time, and it will run away for 4, backward of point. Another boundary in the over for the Steelbacks. You can clearly see the plan here from Potts, but again, misses full. Beats the dive of Graham Clark at backward point.
I think that's the thing that's confusing me with the plan from Potts. It looks to be full, it looks to be on or wide of off stump. And I don't necessarily see, unless he bumps it in, I how it gets to those two fielders down there on the leg side.
Yeah, because he's gone for a Yorker every ball of this over so far. And he goes short this time. Broad goes for the attempted reverse ramp and misses out. So Potts ends up getting out of the over with a dot. Steelbacks 1-2-2 for 4, so require 36 off of the last 3 overs. So rate still stands at 12 and over. But yes, Dan, you're right, because the line that he was bowling was off stump or outside off stump for the majority of that over. So you would think with the field that he had in having the 4 out leg side, or those 3 men out on the leg side, he could have bowled a little bit straighter, potentially brought the stumps into play as well. It wasn't the case. Steelbacks still require 12 and over, and it's going to be Jimmy Neesham. So 2 out of the last 2 overs could potentially both be the leg spin of Nathan Salter and the left arm spin of Parkinson, but it's Neesham to the 18th, flicked into the leg side. They'll look for 2, they'll run hard, and they'll get to quite comfortably. Although the lines that both of those 2 ran there were like drawing an oval out in a shape rather than 2 parallel straight lines.
They've run closer to 50 yards there, haven't they, rather than 44 if they'd have gone straight and back. It was well gapped, wasn't it, by Bapara? Split those 2 fielders on the leg side really well, and they are particularly close together down there at deep square and deep mid-wicket.
Neesham again. And it's dragged out towards the fielder at square leg, and a catch is taken. It was short from Neesham. Bapara has tried to launch it, waited for it, but didn't really get as much of it as he would have liked. And it's a diving catch taken forward by Will Rhodes, was it out there? I think. I don't know if it was Will Rhodes.
Not 100% sure.
Matty Potts.
Good catch, though. Good change of pace from Neesham as well, wasn't it? Out the back of the hands. Just a bit more elevation on it. You thought Bapara had got it, but flat, good catch. Was just dying on him at the end. Lewis McManus then.
Lewis McManus, the finisher so far this year. Can he get the job done for the Steelbacks, requiring 34 the last 17 balls this innings? Neesham's in again, pace on, and it's taking the outside edge, and he's out. First ball, caught at short third man by Callum Parkinson. 2 and 2 balls for Neesham, goes pace on into the deck. Takes a healthy edge from the bat of Lewis McManus. And he sort of looks down the pitch as if to say, where's that one come from? But we have seen it all night, unfortunately. So back-to-back first ball ducks for the Northampton wicketkeeper Lewis McManus. Over to you then, Luke Proctor.
Plenty of work left to be done here, isn't there? Northampton up against it. 6 down now, the Steelbacks. Jimmy Neesham, what an unwelcome return to Wantage Road this has been for the Northamptonshire Steelbacks supporters that would have enjoyed him in a different coloured jersey back in 2022. 50 with the bat, 2 massive wickets there in the first of what I'm sure will be 2 of his overs at the death. Luke Proctor in at number 8. Proper batter, though.
Proper batter. Hit his first ball for 4 the other night. Bit of a challenge ahead of him here. Rate goes up to 13.6 required. 34, 2.5 overs. Neesham's on a hat-trick. Staying over the wicket to the left-hander. He's got third man, fine leg, deep square, long on, and a deep cover. So in he comes. Neesham on a hat-trick to Proctor, who's in. He just tucks that off his legs into the leg side. He runs hard. I think it'll just be a single.
That's Luke Proctor playing championship cricket, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
just on the hip, just turns it around the corner for a single down to deep square to get himself off the mark.
Yep, Steelbacks fans have seen that one a few times from Luke Proctor with a red ball and whites. But he's in the coloured kit tonight. Can he get the job done? Out there with Justin Broad, who's on strike now. Neesham's in, short, and it's slapped down the ground towards long on. Earlier in the over, it was Graham Clark that took the diving catch to dismiss Ravi Bopara at deep square leg. So 1 ball left in the over for Jimmy Neesham. Impact, dynamic player, as we have mentioned. Steelbacks fans know that. He's doing his job out there for Durham tonight. 2 for 24. 1 ball left of his 3rd over, and he's into Proctor. Goes for the attempted ramp, doesn't get anything on it, so it goes through to Ollie Robinson. Finished the over with a dot. Well bowled, Jimmy Neesham. 2 overs to go. Steelbacks require 32.
Neesham doing the damage. Just 4 runs being conceded in that over, picking up 2 wickets. At the same stage, Durham were 135 for 6. That man, Jimmy Neesham, doing the damage earlier on this evening with bat in hand, now with ball in hand. And the tricky Ben Rain with 12 to go, 32 off 12. How many can the Steelbacks leave off the final over with Broad and Proctor in the middle?
Got to get at least 3 boundaries off this over, haven't they? Gap over mid-off, an extra cover. And this one has been swung out into the leg side. It could be out the ground. It's massive from Justin Broad. Slog sweep. Huge over the groundsman's hut. What a hit that is from Justin Broad. Biggest of the night.
Use the word, Joe.
Minced.
That's massive. That's as big as I've seen in the 3 years that I've been up here. Chris Lynn hit some monsters, didn't he? But that is rivaling the big Australian from Justin Broad. That's massive.
I was going to say, Chris Lynn-esque. That was from Justin Broad. The man of the moment. 6 off the first ball. Pressure on Ben Rain.
Short leg side boundary as well.
Again, Broad hits it out into the leg side. He's plinked it. They'll look for 2. Proctor wants it. He's running to the non-striker's end. The striker's end, sorry. There's a big hoo-ha between Neesham, who threw the ball into Robinson. Robinson thought he'd got his man. They scampered back for 2.
I think it was a direct hit, Joe. I think looking at the way that off stump was just kind of pointing back to the leg side, I think that was a direct hit. Robinson was celebrating, convinced that Broad was short of his grounds.
It was close, definitely.
He's quick, isn't he, Broad? It was a big dive. There's a bit of life back in the crowd.
They're up for it. 8 off the first 2 balls then. I'd be interested to see that one on the replay, and I'm sure Durham fans will be too. Rain comes into Broad. Yeah, and he's well bowled. He's hit backward a square. I think they'll get 2 easier this time, and they do. Zach Folks does the fielding. Broad's disappointed. It was well bowled from Ben Rain. Broad moves on to 30. 10 off the first 3 balls, so 22 required. Rain went full then, but he knows that he can't miss in the slot because Broad will cart him over that leg side, that short leg side boundary, as he did first ball. What's he going to do here? And he's missed full, and it's hit straight to mid-off. Will Rhodes takes the catch. Just needed a bit more innovation on it, did Justin Broad, and it was going to be 4. But Ben Rain stuck to his guns. He's gone for the Yorker. Missed a bit full. Low full toss. Caught by Will Rhodes at mid-off. So Justin Broad has to go for an impactful 30. But Ben Rain, as he so often does, taking wickets at crucial times for Durham. 136 for 7 Steelbacks, still requiring 22 of the last 8 balls of this innings. It's Ben Sanderson.
Massive wicket. Just sucked the life out of the crowd, didn't it? One of those deliveries that if you replayed it back, you'd go, I can hit this wherever I want. Leg side, offside, straight. Just hit it straight at that fielder that was on the edge of the 30-yard circle at mid-off. As you said, a fraction higher, it would have disappeared for 4. Well, what can Ben Sanderson do?
Deep square, deep mid-wicket, long on, long off, and a cover for Sanderson. And he slapped that out towards Jimmy Neesham on the leg side. He was in and ensuring that it was only ever going to be a single. So 1 ball left for Luke Proctor to face. Longer leg side boundary for Proctor as the left-hander. Rain looks like he's going to come around the wicket, try and get him to hit to that longer side, make the boundary, the leg side boundary higher, more harder option for him. He's in round the wicket to Proctor, who hits it straight. It's well bowled from Ben Rain, another well executed Yorker, and it's gone straight back to him. Dot ball to finish. 21 required off the final over. Now, what a comeback that is from Ben Rain, I must say, after going out of the ground first ball to then get the wicket of Justin Broad and keep it to only 5 more runs after that. I think it was 5, wasn't it? 2 twos and a single?
Yes, it was indeed. 21 off 6. Neesham to bowl from the Lynn Wilson centre end. Sanderson on strike. 21 feels like a big number, doesn't it?
It does.
Sanderson, though, fresh off a blistering 60 in the championship earlier this summer. We've seen he can find the rope.
And Neesham's in to him, and it's got to be a no ball. That is what you call a flat one from Jimmy Neesham. So it'd be a no ball and a free hit for Sanderson. That was wild, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Slipped out of his hands, maybe?
Yeah, he's looked to change the pace up, hasn't he? Holds the ball differently throughout the course of the over in his spell, and whether that one's just slipped out, whether the grass has just got a bit dewy on it, is a free hit. Sanderson would have been desperately hoping for a little tickle on that down past Ollie Robinson.
Free hit then. Sanderson swings hard and it goes through to keeper Ollie Robinson. Play and a miss from Sanderson. So 19 required off 5. Not a costly no ball and free hit from Neesham.
Northampton need a boundary and they probably need a maximum as well. Neesham here going to give Sanderson absolutely no pace to work with, I'm sure.
He's in again, takes the pace off, slapped out towards deep cover. It'll only be 1 to Sanderson. So Luke Proctor, can you hit 3 sixes, please? What Steelbacks fans want. 18 off 4 to keep their unbeaten start to the season alive. We knew that 155 plus was probably going to be a competitive score. We did wonder what hand Jimmy Neesham had played in that first innings. Tempo of his innings, we questioned it at times. Well, I certainly did anyway, knowing what a ball striker he is, but he accelerated nicely towards the back end. He's bowling the final over here. He's into Luke Proctor. Goes pace off again. And Proctor can only hit it out square of the man on the cover boundary, so it'll only be a single. So 17 off of 3 balls. Mathematically still possible at this stage. And Ben Sanderson has hit 6s. Can hit 6s. He enjoys his batting, Ben Sanderson.
He's hit 3 T26s in the 94 games, the 25 innings that he's had so far. So he just needs to double his tally for the Steelbacks to be successful and go 7 from 7.
Neesham's in, goes into the wicket, pace on, out towards the fielder at deep mid-wicket, running round. It's a brilliant grab. It's an excellent catch from Colin Ackerman, I think it is. Yes, Colin Ackerman at deep mid-wicket. Neesham went for the pace-on bumper. Sanderson could only just slap it skywards. Ackerman was running round to his left, diving. Takes the catch well. So Sanderson has to go. What a game for Jimmy Neesham.
Yeah, I think fair to say that he would be in contention for player of the match.
Oh, you reckon?
Just in
Not
contention.
sure there's too many other contenders, Dan.
No, I think that's engraved already for Jimmy Neesham. Lloyd Pope facing the impossible. And unless there's a real slip up here from Jimmy Neesham, the Steelbacks are finishing seconds on Friday night against Durham. Neesham 50 with the bat. Tidying up the tail as well. 3 for 28 with 2 balls to go. And the crowd are departing.
Neesham's in, and a play and a miss outside the off stump from Pope. Pace on, so 1 delivery left.
So Steelbacks record will be played 7, won 6, lost 1 at the end of this innings. This will be Durham's 3rd win of the campaign. Played 5, won 3, lost 2. So it'll take their tally up to 12 points.
Final ball of the innings then. Neesham's in, goes full this time to Pope, who drives it to extra cover. They're going to run. Alex Lees isn't going to throw it because he's got no interest in that. Durham seal the victory. Steelbacks finish 142 for 8 at the end of their 20 overs. So Durham win the contest by 15 runs, defending that 157 that they posted. Thanks to 50 not out from Jimmy Neesham. Brilliant game for the former Steelbacks man, who finishes with 3 for 29. So not a bad night for him on his return to Wantage Road. Good game of cricket all round, though, I'd say. It was competitive throughout. It felt just probably before that rate got into double figures, as so often is the case in these blast fixtures. But well-fought contest. Durham take the 4 points.
Yeah, a couple of moments, weren't there? Justin Broads found the outside edge of Jimmy Neesham early in the innings a couple of times. Fell into a vacant area just in front of the man at deep third and batted brilliantly. We wondered, didn't we? We wondered whether it was a dig-in, build and go late, build a platform. We questioned it. Was it the right thing to do? It was exactly the right thing to do. It was a fantastic innings from the New Zealand international Jimmy Neesham. We said he averaged 40 at Wantage Road in 22. He's come back. He's bettered that. He's made 50. And then quietly as well, there were moments in that Steelbacks innings. They were in front. The power play, they were in front. They were in front for a little way. There was that wicket for Bretsky off Parkinson, trying to go against the spin down towards Zach Folks at long off. Didn't feel like the right time to do it. There was already the boundary off the start of the over. But you're going to back yourself. You're going to play your shots. And just quietly as well, 6 overs, 3 for 28 between Nathan Souter and Callum Parkinson in the middle as well. So yes, Jimmy Neesham takes the headlines, 3 for 29 and 50. There's some fantastic contributions from the Durham teammates in the middle. Ben Rain as well, 17 off 8. The only player out there to go out there and really get after it, striking at 212. How important was that as a little innings?
Yeah, he came out and injected some impetus, as we've already spoken about across the course of the commentary. I'm thinking about Bretsky's dismissal now. I'm thinking about it, and it was definitely felt like the game-changing moment. He got himself in. He was striking the ball nicely. As you say, he probably didn't need to take that risk at that stage, knowing that it felt like it was a pitch where if you get yourself in, just stay out there, keep knocking it about. It's only going to get easier the more balls you face. And he's not taking the responsibility there as the overseas, the opener that had got himself in, unfortunately for the Steelbacks. And he's hit it straight down long off throat off Parkinson. And I wonder if that might have been a bit of personal frustration in his innings on that part. I looked at when his previous boundary was, and I think it was Ben Rain, the 7th over, and he got out in the 12th over. So there's been a bit of time between his last boundary, so he's probably going after it. But yeah, it's a catch-22 at times, isn't it? Risk and reward in T20 cricket. If he hits it over him, he's the hero. He obviously got out, got caught, and he's passed the mantle on to the next man, knowing that it was going to be a pitch that, yeah, it's probably a little bit hard to hit fluently from the off on. But Durham played really well. You got to hand it to them. And as you say, the role of Souter and Parkinson in the context of the game when there was only the 1 over of spin in the Steelbacks innings, Souter's sort of impeccable record against Steelbacks goes on as well. Some good catches held as well this evening. So yeah, a good contest, but unfortunately Steelbacks on the losing side.
Absolutely. Durham victorious. They will travel to York on Sunday to take on Yorkshire at 2:30 in the Vitality Blast. Northamptonshire Steelbacks, well, we have to wait a week until we welcome Nottinghamshire Outlaws to the county grounds for another Friday night, 6:30 here at the county ground. My name's Dan Jadzovic, been joined by Joe Gardner throughout the course of the evening. We're powered by Daffabet here at the Northamptonshire County Cricket live stream. And we'll see you in a week's time for when we welcome the Nottinghamshire Outlaws to the county grounds.